Crank up the music. Keep an eye on the back.
This presentation is provided to you to amuse or entertain and not to conform or inform. The content on this channel should not be used to replace professional, financial, medical, or legal advice. All footage taken and used from public sources falls under the Fair Use of the Digital Millennial Copyright Act of 1998. Therefore, no breach of privacy or copyright has been committed. Pig walks into a bar and orders 10 beers. Come on, I've said crazier things than this. So he walks in, he orders 10 beers. The bartender is, of course, a little confused, but says, hey, I'll go with this. And he gives him 10 beers. The pig proceeds to down every one of the beers, pay for his beers, and then start to leave. And the bartender said, hey, man, I've never seen anyone drink beers that fast, but you drink 10 beers. Don't you think you should use the bathroom before you leave? And the pig said, no, you got me all wrong. I'm one of those pigs that goes wee, wee, wee all the way home.
Satellite tracking continues.
Wow. Oh, there he is. Wow. Hey, Joe.
What's up, everybody? What's up, ceiling fan, man?
Nice to see you. SR. I like how you did that. Pretty sweet. So yeah, now everyone in the chat's saying it for me. Wow. I don't know. I started doing that and just came out, and next thing I know, now it's a thing. I don't know. I have a lot of things apparently. Yeah, so here's where we're at. For those of you that are keeping track, it's a marathon for me. I never like to do 2 shows in a row. It's draining mentally trying to come up with content and talk for 2-3 hours and then do it the next day. But an interview came up last night with a gentleman. If you haven't seen him, he's a really interesting guy. His name is John, and he has a channel that he's gone over some things that have changed in his life and things that he's saying that we can maybe go over later in the show. But so that one just came about, and I said, yeah. And so we did that last night, but I made sure that I got enough things so we'd have a good show tonight. I'm really happy to have you back, mainly because there's so much more to like your whole story and stuff that we really didn't even get into. And then, of course, he's my somewhat new friend, and yet he's open to listen to even my crazy talk, which is awesome because he's a First Amendment auditor. If you're not familiar with what they do, and they go around and they test our First Amendments and finding out that everyone's failing miserably, and so but they don't really cover the topics that like I normally cover on my channel. So Joe's gracious enough to not only we'll talk about his stuff, but then we'll get into some of the wild side of our stuff. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, and I actually watched about the first third of your show last night. I think the guy's channel that was on last night is called Wake Up or Else.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I went, I subscribed and everything. You know, I'm good about that. So he seemed like a pretty interesting guy, and I was interested in your Mandela Effect thing with the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away.
Yeah, isn't that one crazy? So yeah, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I mean, we could start there is like your background, because my background, I was born and raised Jewish, and so I never looked at the Bible. I didn't believe in Jesus as anything other than a prophet, and I didn't even know that when they taught me the Torah, but they taught it to me in Hebrew, so I had to learn another language. But they didn't teach me the translation or the fact that I actually was reading the Bible, because that's the first half is the Torah. And so it's kind of funny. I was reading the Bible and I didn't know it, and then so I had no connection to any religion because we stopped after I got bar mitzvahs, basically. And so I had no connections to religion or any other than just being a good person, and God's just like a way to be, morally good. But this awakening process that I'm going through, I found out that no, I actually believe this is all true. And there's things in the Bible that tell us what happened, and then things that are happening now that are in that book, and things that, are predicted to come. And so, as you just met me, I'm leveling up in my spirituality and sounding like one of those crazy Christians that I don't even like that label, because I don't know what I am anymore. I just know that I know God exists, and I've been talking with him, and, not like a conversation like with you, but you know what I mean? And so that's my journey that's been going on. And so you said from a pretty religious family, correct?
Well, my family wasn't exactly religious to start with, but my paternal grandmother was very religious, Christian. Not religious like church. In fact, she condemned churches in her speech. In her normal life, she didn't believe in church, but she believed in God. She believed in Jesus. And she sort of converted my immediate family. And then from there, my extended family was sort of converted, more or less.
Mm-hmm. But you got you've read the Bible, I guess, when you were younger and stuff. So
yeah, it's kind of funny that you were saying you didn't know because you were raised Jewish. I didn't really know that I was reading the Torah.
Here, I got something for that. Where is he? Hold on. I wasn't ready for that.
That's very true.
There you go. You better get on top of that.
I know. I got to get on top of that. Isn't that funny? I'll tell you something real quick. Constructive criticism, I'm all for it, right? It keeps me humble. I have no problem. People write me all the time. Of course, I like the stuff when they say nice things, but obviously there's people that, and I had someone, and I don't even know what to do with this other than say, I'm sorry, maybe this isn't the show. But they said they don't like when I play those little drops. And I was very confused reading it because I was like, well, that is my show. That's all I do. Like, this is what I've known for. It's in everything I do. I enjoy it. And so it is what it is. This is the vessel God chose, and there's plenty others. I could do it and just be like, okay, everyone, open to page 25.
Real quick.
Yeah, I know. But in any case, I got off on a tangent. But you were saying, yes. So you were reading the Torah and didn't know it, and I was reading the Bible. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and I'm not that pedantically familiar with the Bible. I can't really cite it or anything like that. And I'm not. I don't really know. I'm not a worshiper of Jesus, but I like Jesus.
Hey, that's a start, man.
I kind of never believed, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
I felt pressure from my family because they believed. So I never really believed in Jesus. Even when I was a little kid, it was more like I knew that I should believe. So I just did. And then I had faith,
Yeah.
And then when I got older and I moved out on my own, I started journeying into atheism. Well, actually, first I started to shed Christianity through Buddhism. I got into Buddhism.
You were jumping all over the place, checking them all out. I love it.
Yeah, well, I think I wanted to go toward atheism, but I didn't have the balls to jump straight from Christianity to atheism. So I went toward Buddhism, which is kind of like a spirituality. It's kind of an atheistic religion, at least that's how I conceived of it at first.
It's like a non-committal relationship. How about that?
Yeah, it's like an open relationship.
Yeah, exactly. I have something for that too. I'm going to play as many of these as I can now, but I'm so slow and I'm just fascinated with the conversation. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, so I went toward Buddhism, and I studied Buddhism a little bit. I actually studied Buddhism in more of a scholarly way than I ever looked at Christianity, And then I eventually shed Buddhism altogether after I went to Asia, and I discovered pretty much when I went to Asia that the religion wasn't atheistic for them; it was atheistic for me. But for them, they believed in the Buddha just like we believe in Jesus. They thought the Buddha was like a real man who walked the earth, and he's watching us and he knows our thoughts. And
he's way heavier than Jesus. Jesus has a way better, slim figure, don't you think? Right? Buddhist.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jesus is a lot healthier for sure.
Yeah. So there's a problem there, I think. To me, don't you think? How do you pray to a God that can't even take care of himself? How's he gonna take care of you? I don't know. That's an idea.
Yeah, I've never thought about that before.
I just thought of it now. I don't know. It just seems funny. Maybe you cut back on the donuts, Buddha. I don't know.
Well, I never prayed to him.
Yeah, well, I was just making a joke. Yeah.
Well, the Buddha is kind of like, what I liked about Buddhism as opposed to Christianity is that Buddhism has some really they have rules. You know what I mean? I guess they have rules in Christianity, like the 10.
Yeah, trust me, they do.
They definitely have rules.
Yeah, they got a lot of rules.
Yeah, but it seemed like really practical advice in Buddhism, I guess. At least that's how I thought of it 10 years ago, or whatever that was, 15 years ago. But eventually that led to atheism. And I've come all the way back to God from atheism.
That's fantastic. Now, for me, like I said, I had a spirituality to me, but my wife, she had faith. She had already made this connection, and I didn't understand it. And so what happened to me is I just had stuff was going on that I just couldn't handle. And I broke down and I did what they said without even knowing I was doing it. And I said, okay, if you're real, I need to know. and I specifically called out Jesus. And then I had my experience that proved it to me. So that's why I think it's interesting, because then I started reading the Bible really seriously. And what I found was, first of all, I found the stories that are really fascinating. I mean, there's everything. There's intrigue, there's murder, there's sex, there's I mean, people get thrown in prisons, and people, it's just, there's all kinds of, what's that?
Poetry.
Beautiful poetry, right? The Psalms and all that. Yeah. And those also give me comfort. Like, you can be having just the worst time and you can get into Psalms. And the cool thing is that's why I don't get how people don't see how this book actually, to me, is a living word. I'll pick it up and I'll just randomly choose a Psalm, and it usually takes care of the situation that I'm dealing with. And I just find that really wild. And so I use that as my companion to understand it. But what I'm seeing with the Mandela effect, and that's what John and I were talking about last night, is it's being corrupted, and you can prove that it's being corrupted. And the thing is the pastors, they don't want to look at it because they don't want to lose their job and their flock and whatever. And so it's happening in front of us. And even God says there'll be a time when there's a famine, and it's of the word. And I feel that that's what's happening now, because you're looking for the word and you're not finding it. And again, it's interesting how things that were written however many years ago, we want to say, matching up to what's happening right now. I read, I think, was it last night? Here, I'll read. It was this one, 2 Timothy 3. Here, I'll pull it really quick so you can see what I'm talking about. So it's not just me looking at this. Click. Where is it? I think it's here. So right there, 2 Timothy 3, and it talks about the last days, perilous times will come. And it talks about men being lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures, and lovers of God. It sounds like what we're feeling right now in society. And then this is where I found it interesting, that having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof, and then from such turn away, is what he says. And what I take away from that is that he's saying that, because when you read it, Jesus says, if you figure out how I do this with the faith of a mustard seed, then you'll do whatever I can and even more, and you can move mountains and all this stuff. But the key is, you have to understand, you didn't just become Christ yourself. You got the same power, and this is my mind, through the Holy Spirit, and you're connecting to God, because God is the one that does everything, and he can't love you more or less. But if you have two children, and one of them's disobeying and one of them's doing great stuff, well, one might get a correction and the other one will get some favor. And kind of that's the way I see it. And so when people just level up, but deny that there's a creator that's doing it for them, I think that's where they get the problem. Like Nebuchadnezzar, that was a huge mess for that guy. So, but anyways, I'm off on a Bible study.
Well, Bible study is good. I mean, I think the Bible is a beautiful book, and I never recognized the Bible as poetry or parable or anything like that until I was much older. I always understood the Bible as a threat. That's how I conceived the Bible as a child. Like, I need to believe this, otherwise I'm going to get cast into a lake of fire.
And do you see the same thing that they did to you, organized religion or whatever? They did it to me, because I was told not to look at the Bible, kind of the same reason, because it's not the word of God. God stopped here at the Old Testament. The Messiah hasn't come, and Jesus was just some dude showing up in a robe, and who knows. So we were told not to look at any of that. So it's interesting, because there's also that saying that it's, what is it? I think 95% of Christians ruin it for the rest of us. because that's what we picture. I mean, I did too. I was a Jewish kid growing up, and I pictured them walking around with their Bibles and saying, "Repent, you go to hell." They show it on all the Godzilla movies and stuff. And so that's the depiction I had, and I not feared it, but I was just like, no, there's no, I'm not even going to look at it. And it's interesting that we have different backgrounds, and yet they made us feel the same way about that book, isn't that?
Yeah. My grandmother, she was a very imposing, scary woman to me, and she was the one who put Christianity all throughout our family, And she would sit me down when I was young, and she would say, "Joseph, tell me about your dreams." And then she would interpret my dreams according to the word, or her interpretation of the word.
Which is what Joseph did in the Bible. That's kind of funny.
I'm sure that wasn't lost on her. She was extremely intense. I mean, we would be sitting at dinner at the dinner table, and it'd be silent, And this woman, by the way, she's like 5 feet tall and like, and 90 pounds, 100 pounds. You know what I mean? So it's nothing about her physically was threatening, but she was scary. She was channeling, or at least she seemed like she was channeling a direct connection to God. And she would burst out in exclamations of joy, and maybe even horror and praise of God in the middle of dinner. And she really set the tone for my feeling about God my whole life.
Huh. Okay. So, but now he's talking, and then there's just like this. There's a stop sign, and I thought there was more.
Well, there's more. Yeah, there's more, but I don't know, which way to turn, at the stop sign.
No worries. Well, here, let's see. What can we do here? I didn't even do your opening, but it's a little late for that. But I like looking at your little baby. How old is your child now? So
she's 11 months.
She's 11 months.
Yeah, so she's gonna have her first birthday on the 6th of June.
Wow. I can't believe that, because I remember watching your wife when she was pregnant in those videos. That's wild.
It's crazy, man.
If anybody didn't see her, here, real quick, I'll show you. I love that. And the fact that first she cries and you're like, oh, maybe it's too cold. And it's like, no, this is cool. Like, how many of us could actually have done that and just be having a good old time? It's wonderful.
Yeah. I think I mentioned this last time, is that when we were making these videos for the channel, we made a decision, like, not to put her too much in the videos, but it's almost like impossible, because we didn't want to like exploit her, because she's like a little baby, and put her in the videos too much. But she's really the star, man. She's really like an angel. Like, at least that's from my perspective, of course. But it's hard to like when I'm editing these videos, I have a lot of video of her, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna edit like all this stuff of her out, but I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to remember it. I want to have it in.
Yeah.
But I don't want to give it away to everyone else at the same time.
No, I think, it is a balancing act. Same with what I do here, not to that level, but it's a balancing act. I think you're doing great with it. I didn't pull up the clips, but my goodness, they went to a place that was, I don't know if we even talked about it. No, you hadn't been there yet. They were looking to rent something, or tell them what that was. It was see if I can
we were
find
just
it.
looking. We've been applying for mortgages and stuff, and we haven't been able to get a mortgage loan. So we started looking for a rental, and we're really open-minded. So we went to Craigslist. We found a trailer for rent in Burnside, Kentucky. Is that what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and no pictures. It's just a trailer on 5 acres. And we even wanting to homestead, so we went and checked it out. And it was just like a total disaster.
I'll find it here. I think I have it here. So here, I'll bring it up. I said, I think I needed a shower after watching this. And he said this wasn't even the bad part. So I don't know what could have been worse.
Yeah, we had to film it kind of covertly, so we couldn't really go all out filming. But the guy actually told us, he said, so this is a $600 a month trailer for rent in Eastern Kentucky. And he said if we fixed it up, he would only charge us $900.
But that means you had to get rid of all the pill bottles and the garbage and the feces and the rats and the
mold and paint it and fix it. I don't know what he wanted us to do.
Yeah, but if you cleaned it up, then they would have charged you more. So part of the cheapness of the rental is that you get your own pills and stuff too, I guess.
You know, I thought he was gonna say like, you know, it's $600 per month, but you can clean it up and you know, we'll keep it at $600 a month. But instead,
I don't think it's worth it. Even if just cleaning it up, that's no.
It would take $10,000 to make that place even livable.
Oh God! And underneath, I didn't think I got this far. I was just like, get that baby out of the house.
It looks really bad from the outside too, but we couldn't film it because he was out there.
Oh my goodness!
Well, we could have filmed it, but I don't think he would have appreciated it.
Yeah, that was nuts. Anybody? Where's my? I have something for that too. Where is she?
No, thank you.
Is she about to drink a bottle of water through the mask?
Yes. That was during the Olympics. She was I think she was a weightlifter, and of course, you know, it was real scary out there. So, but that clip ends there. And it drives me crazy. I looked all over the internet to look for a longer clip and I couldn't find it. I mean, I added the music and changed the colors and stuff. But yeah, she literally starts because she's so freaked out. I think I know what the question was. I remember the beginning because it ends there. But the beginning is they asked her what she felt about. There was a trans person that was in the weightlifting category and the trans person, they won. And they wanted to know their well, that's not like you say they right now. And so they wanted to know what her response was to the fact that they were in the competition. I don't even know anybody's following along with me, but in any case, that was her response. They said, so could you tell us what you feel about, you know, this situation? And she does this.
No, thank you.
But see, the clip cuts there. I won't just the water pour all over her. She was so freaked out that she didn't want to answer the question. She says, no, thank you. And then does that.
She looks serious too. Like she could kick our ass maybe.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I know any of the yeah, absolutely. I have no doubt about that. But I'm not here to fight because we're
on a mission from God.
Now you're on top of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, now I am. Well, I'm on fire now. When someone tells me don't do something, you know how it is. That's all I'm gonna do now.
You know, that's kind of the style I've taken with auditing. You know, it's kind of like ODD. Like if someone says don't do this, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it now. I wasn't gonna do it before.
Oh, my favorite thing that you all do is like when they'll say, don't film this, and then you'll take the camera and go, what, you mean this? Don't do this, right? You know, I've seen that so many times, it cracks me up every time. Okay, you can film in the public lobby, but you can't film anything over here. You mean like this? And I know there's nothing they can do. It's funny.
Well, it's the don't face this direction rule. You can't face this direction. Okay. That's like one of the weirdest rules that everyone runs into all the time with this auditing thing. Because people, they come out and they want you to stop recording. And then once they realize they can't stop you, or once they can't stop you, then they start to like grasp at straws. And so they want to be like, okay, you can record here in the lobby, but you just can't face west. Like I can't face west.
Is that, where's that written? Is there a law? what do they call it? The different laws of the state. What is that written? Could you show me the statute on that? You can't face west. And you know what happens to everyone when someone says that to Surveyor? This is what they get.
Listen carefully then. No.
I love having you here and playing your clip. And the fact that you didn't know this was going on at all. I've been playing your clips for like months, it seems.
Yeah, no is a good word. I like it.
And it short circuits a lot of people when I'm watching those audits, especially the police. They don't know what to do. No one's ever stood up to them and said no. You know, they walk up to you and you go, let me see your license and information. And they just say, no. Have I done a crime? I didn't know that until I started watching the 1A auditors.
No, really?
I didn't know that. No, I just assumed the guy in the uniform walks up. He says, I need to see your ID. Show it to him. I mean, that's what we were taught. It wasn't until my wife turned me on to the First Amendment auditors that I'm like, wait a minute. They say no, unless you've committed a crime. Tell them, my audience doesn't know. Tell them what the speech is.
Well, I mean, the thing is that you want constitutional policing. So you don't want police demanding people's ID unless they have a reason. So in theory, I think you're right that if the police come up and start demanding your ID, then you would want to give it if they're constitutional police, because they would only demand your ID if they have good reason or reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime, you know. But that's just not the fact of the matter. That's just not how they work. You know, they just demand ID like no matter what.
Yeah.
So basically, if you know when you have to give ID and when you don't, then you can say no if you're in the right, you know. And
right, like
you don't usually know the cops don't usually know what's appropriate or what's not, because everyone they ask is just in the default mode of like, yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they're looking for you.
Yeah. This town is like, whenever anything happens, like they go full bore on the sirens.
We've been talking about that. My wife and I have been talking about that for at least a year now. And it's like, it almost seems like they want to make sure that everyone at home knows there's trauma going on. It's another fear base in our society. Cause like I've been on the road and yeah, the sirens are great when you're like at a stoplight and stuff. I'm all for that. But when you're just going through a neighborhood and stuff, it's like, I don't know, if you're driving, the lights is what I see way before I hear anything. And sometimes they just barrel through here. I don't know, maybe they're going to lunch, maybe not. It just seems like there's a lot more of that going on. And the thing that's really getting to us is there's a military base nearby, and they used to do it maybe once a year. And now they've done it, well, for the last month, they've done it every single week, once a week at noon. And they run a giant siren, and then a guy goes, attention, and then he says, this is a test. And that's it. And then another giant siren. And it's like I'm watching The Man in the High Castle or something. You know, it's weird. Like all of a sudden now, what's going on? Why do I get this noise? And it's really loud. I got it recorded, but I haven't downloaded. I'll play it one night. But yeah, and we had a gentleman who had gone through the Korean War, and it freaked him right out when it started going off because he hadn't heard it, and we hear it now quite a bit. So I don't know. It just seems weird, like they're testing everything.
You know, here in this like small town we're in Kentucky, I just was doing a little bit of research the other day. They have one fire department for every 1 square mile. So
why?
What that works out to here in terms of population is one fire department for every 900 people. And the police are pretty much the same. This is a small town. There's 7,000 people here. So they have 8 fire departments in a town of 7,000 people. They have tons of police driving around all day. If you go down to the fire department tomorrow, or maybe not tomorrow, but on any given weekday, they're like outside there washing their personal vehicles. They're just like, you know, probably
Well,
ordering like expensive catering. I don't know what.
Well, think about it. How often? I mean, the fire department is there mostly to put out fires, which don't happen that often enough to have 8 departments. And then in addition to that, I know they have the paramedic units and stuff, but the fire department, there's a whole separate section of that too, I believe. So that
Well,
seems
whenever
like
they
a
do some
excess.
out here, they flip on the sirens and they're like make a huge spectacle of it. I mean, I'm pretty cynical about it. So from
Yeah.
my perspective, I imagine that they don't have a lot of work to do. Like I said, they got
Yeah.
7,000 people in 8 fire departments, 1 per square mile. And so when something happens, they flip on the sirens and make tons of noise,
Oh,
like to
geez.
say, just keep the tax money flowing in here, you know.
Yeah. I see what you're
It's
saying. That's an
decentralized.
idea I didn't think of. But yeah, because everything we're finding is excess. In fact, eventually I'm going to do an expose on salaries because like city council members and stuff in our area or county commissioners, they make $100,000 plus for
Yeah.
like 3 days a week and cutting a ribbon here and there. And then they make decisions for people that a lot of them, the main reason people get voted into all these offices is nobody likes doing that kind of work, that paperwork and those really boring meetings. So then you end up getting like the same 10 people that cycle through your town. I mean, we've had the same people in our town for like 20 years, it seems, because nobody else wants to do it or has the time to do it. And so they just keep giving themselves raises and they make all kinds of money.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's
They do.
bloat everywhere. The police, I'm watching the one auditors, and they make usually between, I don't know, I think most of them are around $100 to $250,000 a year with benefits and things.
I was just about to say that, what I started realizing when I would do these audits, a lot of times after the whole audit is done, you take the case number, the incident number that they give you, and you start doing public records requests. At least that's what I do. And you don't even need to do a public records request in Washington State to find out how much these guys make because it's already public. So you just go on the
Yeah.
internet and find out. It's called open payrolls if anyone's interested. But you find like the most incompetent police sergeant, like I'm talking fully incompetent, like anti-American police sergeant, just belligerent. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, you look up how much he makes, $250,000 a year for that. It's insane. And that's not an outlier. That's the rule, not the exception.
Right. Especially in the larger cities.
Yeah.
Totally.
Here, I think in Kentucky, it's much less. I think the police are maybe make 50 or 60,000 a year.
Yeah, but you've got like 50 of them, so that's why they have to spread it thinner.
Yeah, and there's nothing to do. There's no crime. There's probably domestic violence calls. I'm sure there's a couple things of trespassing and stuff like that, but I'm almost positive these guys don't have anything to do. So they just like. And even I've wanted to work for the government for that same reason. Like when I look for jobs, I've been interested in park ranger because you know what I want to do? I want to go to the park and sit in my truck all day.
Right. Well, didn't your wife come across one that was sleeping? He was a parking enforcement or something, and he was sound asleep on the job. And when she woke him up, he was like, "Oh, I was on a break."
Yeah. So that guy's like, I can't remember how much he makes, but I think it's like $150K.
And he sleeps in his car during the day.
Sleeps in his car, and like that's not the first time that dude slept in his car. Like a lot of people in the comments are like, "Oh, he was just taking a nap while he was on break." No, like
that guy was out. I saw that video. He was out, and that was his normal spot to do it because no one usually shows up there.
Absolutely right. And I would have thought before I started doing this, like I would have agreed with the commenters.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the guy's just on his break. He probably just took a nap because he worked so long. These guys don't do anything. And I started noticing that with the police. What the police do in Seattle a lot of times is they hide. They like to find a nice shady spot on private property and they sit there. And what they all try to do is the same thing, as little as possible.
Wow.
Like a lot of people who are like anti-police, they have a conception of the police where the police are like out there like hunting black people, or they're like out there like roving around trying to find someone to abuse. And I'm sure there's those guys out there, but most of the issue is that they're not doing anything. They're trying to do as little as possible.
Yeah, not have as many conflicts as yeah.
Of course,
And
I mean,
that's
they're pretty scared too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because even though they're gearing them up with all this stuff, I don't think they're training them properly at all. I mean, some of the police I saw in some of the videos of the First Amendment auditors, there's one guy, he parks in a handicap spot and he gets out and he's like 500 pounds. And so, he's not going to do anything but shoot or tase you. And sometimes they mix the two of those up.
That's very true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. It seems like a good job in that way.
Yeah.
It's
unfortunate because it started out as like the police were there to help you. I mean, I've shown it before. If you look back in the days of, say, like go look at the England cops in the 50s and 60s, whatever, and they had the hat and they were like helping little kids putting letters in a mailbox. And then you look at the cops that we have now and they're geared up for war, right? They've got like vests and I mean, they have like 4 clips and a couple of guns and a taser and cuffs and a nightstick and helmet. I don't know. It's a totally different look. But we're defunding them, so there's less of them. And then we're getting people that maybe like the power. A lot of them are ex-gang members too. So, and this isn't a hate on police or fire or any of that. I love them, and I have members in my family and friends. It's the system and how it's being corrupted into where the good officers that will stick up for your rights, well, they're bailing out because it's not the same streets anymore. It's not as safe. And the firemen, if it's getting that corrupt, you're either going to get someone that doesn't want to do anything or the good ones are retiring or whatever and looking for something else. Because I don't know how you feel. Well, I would assume I do, but if I get money and I did nothing, then that doesn't feel right. I won't, I like to feel accomplished to whatever reward I got from that work or from whatever, and like when I spend all day today, I was outside because of one of the few days it wasn't raining all day. It's been raining several days, by the way. I'm sure you missed that too, Joe. But I got done. I was exhausted, but I feel good. You know what I mean? I couldn't imagine having a job where you park a car somewhere and you just try to hide until you can clock out and collect a $250,000 paycheck. I couldn't do that. I wouldn't be able to put my head on the pillow with that,
Yeah. Well, I think that a lot of these cities, they are scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to their personnel. Like the brightest aren't really going out there to be police officers in general. The people that are the most driven, that are the most innovative, they're not trying to be police. And the people that are hiring the police, the cities and stuff, they don't want those people to be the police either, because they want people that are going to follow orders, not that are going to ask questions.
Right.
So, I also have friends and family that work for the government or that are police. And there's definitely good police officers out there. Actually, if anybody watches Cameras Everywhere is one of the few auditing channels that will highlight police that do a good job. I have a series called When Police Honor Their Oath. So it's essentially compilations of auditing videos where the police come out and they do the right thing, and they get confronted with someone who says, this hurts my feelings. I want you to do something about this. And the police say, essentially, we don't enforce feelings. We enforce the law, And so while this is unpopular and maybe the person's an asshole, we don't take people to jail for being unpopular. Because
right.
The whole First Amendment auditing thing, the main criticism is that these people are antagonists and they're out to get a rise from the police, or they're baiting the police.
Right. For likes and YouTubes and stuff.
For likes and YouTube.
Yeah.
And that could be the case, but
Some of them, yeah, there are. It's like everything else. Use your discernment. There's some I just don't like, but yeah, keep going.
yeah, absolutely. But the main thing about this auditing thing is they come out and they're essentially doing a story, but the subject of the story is hidden. So the subject of the story is the response. So when they come out, the police say, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm just working on a story about the city hall." Well, what's the story about? Well, I can't get into that. That's what the auditors say, because the story is the response to
Yeah.
the the legal activity at City Hall. So the story, the audit is like hidden, kind of, as to
Yeah.
what's going on, and it kind of makes sense because you wouldn't like reveal the test. Oh, I'm here to test you to see how you respond to
Yeah,
someone
yeah, because
exercising an unpopular constitutional right, or somebody doing something that's odd and hurts people's feelings, you know.
I
Um,
always find it fascinating that you'll be filming something or with your camera, and they'll come up to you and go, "What are you shooting this? What are you doing?" First, the thing they say, "What are you doing?" Well, it's pretty obvious, right? You're filming. That's a funny question. Then why are you doing this? I mean, who? It's kind of like the fact that people just come up and can just discuss your business. You know what I mean? You're in the middle of filming something and maybe the audio ruined it. I don't know. It's just I find it interesting. It used to not be that way. And so like some of the auditors will be like, "Well, what'd you have for breakfast?" "Why do you want to know?" "Well, why do you want to know what I'm doing?" It's like what
well, the number one question that's asked by government officials and the police that approach auditors, the number one and usually the very first question that's asked is, "How can I help you?"
I love that one.
That's usually what they say is, "How can I help you?" And if you ask them, "Well, what kind of help are you offering?"
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, I don't want to help this person," because they do not want to help you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
not really offering you help. It's like this fake thing that they say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw one where he said, "Well, could you get me I don't know, a
Dr.
sandwich and
Pepper.
a Dr. Dr. Pepper?" Oh, and then one of my favorite guys, um, I think it was Bay Area family, and there was this one, I think it was him. There's this one woman cop that was just an absolute tyrant. And like you said, Joe tried everything to try to get him into jail. It just seemed like, and nothing was working because he hadn't done anything wrong. And finally, she said, when she said, "Can I help you?" He was like, "Yes, you can do me a favor. You can go back to the station. You can turn in your badge and gun and go work for, another company or something." So I think it's funny. You're right. They ask you, "Can they help you?" And they actually have no interest in that. That's just their way of saying, "We want you to leave," is what, "Can I help you leave?" is what they want to say.
Yeah.
Can I?
Well, and this just goes to the fact that they're just there to enforce the feelings of the person who called them there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's usually what it is. Um, what I learned from a lot of 911 phone calls, listening to people's 911 phone calls who are calling on auditors, is that they call, and when you call the police start to interrogate the person who's calling. I don't know
Mhm.
if you've ever called 911 before, but that's what happens. So if I'm outside your business or if you're a government official and I'm recording and what's going to happen 99% of the time, you're going to come out to, say, the sidewalk or the public area that I'm in, and you're going to say, "Hey, I don't want you to be recording, and I want you to stop." And I'm going to say, "No." And so you're going to say, "All right, well, I'll just call the police." And then I'm going to say, "Okay," because that's what I'm there for, is for the
Yeah.
test,
See
right?
how you do, and you now failing. Yeah.
Right. So now you go and you get on your cell phone and you call the police. And so, some people do one of two things, but a lot of people like to call the police in front of you because they want to use the phone, because the phone call is a threat.
Right. Right.
They want to call the police in front of you, but some people go inside. But either way they do it, um, they call the police and they get on the phone and they say, "Hey, we got a guy out here on the sidewalk and he's recording everything. he's sticking the camera in our face. Usually they'll say that. Never. And they never put the camera in anyone's face, by the way.
No, I've
But-
never seen that either. Yeah.
So the 911 people will go, okay, slow down. What's your name? What's your phone number? What's your position there? They start to interrogate the person on the phone. Okay, so you got a guy, he has a camera, he's on the sidewalk. What is he doing? Is he just recording? And so slowly the person who's on the phone with 911, they start to realize, I'm calling 911. And by the way, all 911 calls start the exact same way.
Tell me.
911, what's your emergency? There's a guy with a camera on the sidewalk. So automatically it's this situation where you shouldn't be calling 911.
Right. 911 is saying this.
Quiet.
Right? And so what happens is, long story short, is you get on the phone with 911, they start interrogating you, they start asking you, the 911 caller, questions, start asking you your phone number, your first and last name, where you work. All this is public record, by the way. You know, that you're creating a public record yourself.
I've actually seen the auditors request it, and then they play the actual 911 calls, and some of those are fascinating because the people that call up lie sometimes.
That's exactly what I was about to say, because they get to the part where, okay, what's happening? And the person who's calling 911 is slowly realizing, I'm calling 911 for nothing. I'm calling 911 for a legal activity, or I'm calling 911 because my feelings are hurt, or I'm calling 911 because this is unpopular. And so the result is they have to make a false report, because otherwise they're abusing 911.
Yeah.
And so what you have is false report after false report after false report after false report. And as soon as I started listening to the 911 calls and comparing it to the reality, I realized that the people who are calling 911 have got themselves into this predicament where now they have to make false reports. And so they are essentially forced into this sort of false report scenario.
Yeah, because I'm finding that people have problems swallow. I mean, not I'm finding, everyone. They have problems with their pride, especially these officials. And so when they run up to you and you go, "Can I help you?" "No." "Well, you need to go," and then they actually can't force you to leave. That kind of short circuits them, because they're supposed to be able to walk up and be all scary, and then you take off. That's the whole.
Well, they do. That's how it always works. But then one day a person has a camera and they're recording everything, and they won't waive any of their rights, and hopefully they know the law. Well, not I was going to say hopefully they know the law better than you, but you want the cops to know the law. But in a lot of cases, they know what they're doing. It's a test. It's a trap.
But
So
it's also dangerous, because you maybe saw it. I don't know who it is, but there was a gentleman that was filming somewhere, and the owner of the company came out, or someone came out, and did the question, "Can I help you?" And then it's always funny. My wife will do this joke at the house even, and something will happen. I'm like, "Oh, can I help you?" And then she doesn't say anything. I go, "Oh, you're not answering? I'm calling the police." Because that's what they always do every time. It's like,
every time.
"Can I help you? You're not going to talk? I'm calling the police." Oh, there's no other option. You can't go back inside and not worry. No. But so this guy, they did that, and she called the police. And this is where I saw the 911, they played the call, and she said he had a gun, because
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then like 50, I don't know, maybe 20 cops show up, and they're in riot gear and automatic weapons and pumped up. I mean, they showed one guy on his dash cam, and he was flying. They could have hurt people or killed people flying around thinking there's a guy with a gun, and it was just a dude standing there with a camera, and she completely lied. I don't know if anything.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the police officer in this video is actually pretty pissed off at the 911 caller.
Yes.
Right. So that's an example of, when police honor your oath. That's like,
yeah. Well, it was also because he was afraid and pissed off, because now you had not just a couple of cops, which is a waste of resource. They had like 20 on that one, and they were all ready to go. So the adrenaline's flowing. Someone could have got killed. So yeah, I can see how it can get dangerous.
because people are making false reports.
Well, that's kind of where this auditing thing, no matter what you think of the police, that's actually what I find most interesting about it, is that we're in this sort of cultural place where we're debating back and forth: do facts trump feelings, or do feelings trump facts? You know, do are feelings more important than reality? You know, and you can bring this up whether you're talking. I mean, this is not just with the police. This is something with, I like your dog back there. He's like, but this is kind of something that's out there with transgenderism and with all sorts of different subjects. They, like you were saying. It's what is reality? Is truth the reality, or is just our feelings reality? I feel
Right.
like if I say right now that I feel like I'm becoming a woman in this moment, and I now want you to refer to me as she and Josephina. You know what I mean? There's
I have an answer for that.
Listen carefully then. No.
But there's a strong segment of our society where if you're not willing to bend over for my feelings, then you could have your YouTube channel deleted.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's
be fired.
Yeah. There's so many things that I can only just touch on and stuff and hint at or whatever to keep my message going on here. Because it's so censored, it's ridiculous. But there's really nowhere to get free speech at all anymore, and that's what you guys are actually proving. You're out there proving it. It's like they're taking away our rights right in front of us. And then, like, when they go to the post office and stuff, and you're allowed to film it, and they got a poster 7, and everyone loses their mind, and everyone gets mad at the auditor too. I've seen that happen. Like when you did your the audit on the farmers market, like everyone hated you. The market hated you, the customers hated you, and the cops hated you. I felt so bad. There was just that one woman by the poll that she liked you. I didn't know that was your wife when I first watched that. It's so funny.
Oh, you didn't know?
No, my wife and I didn't know the very first time through. Then when we started,
he's like berating this woman about being an immigrant.
No, it's kind of, but no, it seemed like you were both okay with it. It was really funny. When we watched it the second time, it's like, wait a minute.
Well, the freedom of the press thing is another thing that comes up a lot of times in these videos. They say, I'm doing a story. Well, which news organization are you with? And people will say, oh, I'm with the people. I'm with We the People or something. And no one's willing to accept that because they're like, well, wait a second. News organizations have giant cameras and makeup, and they have trucks with their name on it.
Yeah.
But the whole free press thing is that the press is free, and it can be you or it can be me. And if you have a small camera, then you want to get shut down right away. I actually have a video at a vaccine clinic where
I remember that one.
Mainstream news person there with the big camera. She's like right on top of everyone. She's like right there watching the needle go in. I could never get away with that.
No.
In
fact, they kick you away, and you're standing right there next to her going, it's so, that's the one you get attacked in, even like a fireman attacks you, probably because you spoke out about him.
A zoo employee attacks me, but the fireman is the witness. The fireman is the one who's like pressuring me to turn off the camera.
Yeah.
And things like
pretty
this.
Fascinating that people like you said, it's all about it's all about feelings and stuff, not about what's right. And the fact that when you're in a public place, you're in a public place. I just find that fascinating because people are like, you didn't get permission to film me. And some of them will say, really, when you go to Disneyland and you go to take a picture, you're like, okay, everyone, I'm about to take a picture. If you don't want to be in it or sign a release, you know what I mean? Nobody does that. You're in public. That's the whole idea. And then when they say, well, you're in public, but you can't film that building. Well, if I can see it with my eyes, I can film it with a camera. That's the Constitution, at least what it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, well, that was kind of the idea behind cameras everywhere when it first started, is that there's cameras everywhere, like watching us. Like
Yeah.
if you go into a DMV or if you go into a city hall or a police department, they are recording you. Like, make no mistake, you're on like 50 cameras.
Yeah.
You're on camera before you went there. Like
Yeah.
when you're driving there, when you're at the traffic light, when you're at the grocery store, if you're doing the self-checkout or at the ATM, or just on the light pole at the Wendy's or whatever, you're on camera. And, you know, the problem is just when an individual holds a camera.
Right.
If a police officer straps a camera to his chest, it's okay.
He's
If
got the outfit.
the camera in the corner on the drywall, it's fine. There's a camera everywhere else, but if it's an individual and not a government and not a corporation, that's when it becomes a problem.
And I said this a long time ago, because now you know where else it's at. It's not just, it's all those places you said, but now it's on everyone's door, right? They push that Ring doorbell and stuff. And so we're now adding surveillance and we're paying for it. And that stuff has sound. And when you walk by, it triggers, so they get to immediately, and nobody seems to understand. It doesn't go from your door to your phone. It goes to a server somewhere, and then it gets to your phone. So it's potentially being recorded or watched everywhere now, just like in that Batman movie. And it's so now you've got it there too. And I think part of the thing that I think is pushing it is that Nextdoor kind of app. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
And every time I turn it on, there's someone always saying, I just saw a prowler. I just saw someone at my house at midnight or whatever. You better get a Ring door camera or whatever. There was one the other day. I showed it to my wife. They said someone broke in or someone went over to their van and they siphoned the gas out by drilling the gas tank. And I'm like, what are we doing? What is this? We're in what was that Mad Max movie? Like, people are that hard up for what happened to like just siphoning it the old fashioned way if you're going to do it? And who goes to some house and like, what do they bring, a power drill? And then what do they make, noise like cuckoo, so you don't hear the drill? I mean, none of it makes sense. So there, I believe, I could be completely wrong. I know there's real people on there, but just like on YouTube, I know that there's like fake accounts and things. I think there's some Nextdoor accounts that are on there just to push things like, you better get more cameras around your house and stuff. I don't know. I could be wrong, but it just seems like who's drilling gas tanks? Am I, what do you think on this?
I mean, I've watched a lot of Ring doorbell cameras, and it seems like pretty realistic to me.
Really? All right. Well,
I mean, I don't know, because
it is getting crazy out there.
Weird stuff, way weirder than that.
Okay, well, I'll give you this. Then you get this
That's
one.
very true.
All right, and for me, I'm not an expert.
There are no experts.
I got to remember to throw a bunch of those in there. So, hey, how about I haven't thrown up one of my videos here. So here, you want to see? We want to go with what I made to eat or my cat? You choose.
Well, I'll go with the cat.
Go with the cat, yeah. And there's people that come here just to see if the cat is still alive. That's my fans, by the way. They figure that there's no way I'm going to be able to do all this. But to those people, you know what I say?
Shut your mouth!
I just love those drops. Okay, so here we go. Let's see what Sarah's up to this week.
The ceiling fans are very attractive.
It's time for Ceiling Fan Man and Sarah, and kisses and tacos.
I don't understand it either. It looks like garbage to me too. That one is actually a stick I found outside. That's her favorite thing of everything. And we don't get it. Right? We don't get it. It's garbage. Sarah. Hey. No cleaning when I'm singing. So Sarah is doing her best to get along with her big brother. He's at least deciding she's not a complete threat. Not a complete threat. All right, Sarah? Team destroy. Did you get the fly, Sarah? Let's see. So I got a little cat tunnel, and it came with this cool cat fishing pole. So this is great because I really don't even have to do anything. I like these toys that just like are self-sufficient toys. Get the garbage, Sarah. Get the garbage. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that. Not for kitties. Ow.
Satellite tracking continues.
So there you go. She's still alive.
Still alive.
And I have new I've got new marks everywhere. That's fine. She's
So you
figured
said you're not a cat man, you're a dog man.
Yes. I've had cats in my life that have coexisted with me, basically. I've never really kind of got fuzzy with them. But this little kitten, I've never experienced this. And since my wife's gone right now, so we spend a lot of time now together, and so yeah, it's fun. But I do get cut up, but she's learning how to work those a little better each time. So
Are you planning on keeping this cat until death?
Of me or her?
Either one. I mean, I'm talking about her.
Yes. What do I got here? I have something here.
That's very true.
No, I don't know. That didn't even work. But yes, I plan on doing that, of course. That's funny. But yeah, no, it's every animal I think in my life is just it's not something we like set out. Sometimes we actually set out to get a dog and ended up with a completely different dog. And so the same thing with this cat. There was a litter of 8 kittens and 7 got taken. And we were thinking, yeah, we might want one around, they're good mousers and stuff. But we didn't overtly look for one. And then all of a sudden they said, yeah, there's this kitten. It's a black cat because I guess people are afraid of that still. And so so we said, all right. So here she is. And then my wife took off. So I'm having to raise her.
Cats, they're kind of hard to build a relationship with at first. They're not like dogs that just run up to you and, just love you right away.
Yes. No, you're right. It is a building thing. Just like, I don't know if you did see, there's my large, well, in his head, he's the biggest dog, but he's the one we were actually going to get. We have a Doberman. We were going to get a second one. And no, I'm sorry. We were going to get a German Shepherd that was at the, what do you call it? Humane Society. And then when we got there, it was gone. We ended up coming home with him. So it's just the way it works. It's interesting how the animals just show up. And so, yeah. So now I guess I'm a cat man and a dog man. So there's worse things.
Yeah, if you really want a cat to like you, and I think a kitten's a little bit different, but once your kitten gets to be an adult, try doing something like, just imagine your cat sitting on the couch, right?
Uh-huh.
You go and you sit next to the cat, but you don't sit right next to it.
Yeah.
You sit a little bit of ways, and you don't touch it. You just sit down with maybe a space in between you, and you don't
Yeah.
touch it. And when you don't touch it, then the cat goes, "Oh, I want to be touched by this guy."
Yeah.
If you go up to it and you touching it all the time, then it's like, okay, I'm gonna leave. You know,
Right.
that's what a cat's gonna be like. So if you show a cat like, I can be around you without touching you,
Yeah.
the cat's gonna want to be around you, and it's gonna want to be touched.
That's funny. Because
Yeah.
see, it's actually already happening. Because when I go towards Sarah, she's always, yeah, I'm out shooting around, whatever. So if I just let her be and I sit down and I ignore, not ignore, I know where she is, but I just don't do anything overtly. Yeah, exactly. She comes over like, hey, aren't you gonna do anything? Yeah. And so and then sometimes she'll end up laying on me and falling asleep, which is adorable. But yeah, I already see what you're saying. But see, that's why I say, to me, the reason that a dog is God backwards is because it's a mere reflection of God's love. Huh? You like that one? And so, because they can love you unconditionally, the way I see God, like you can do anything to a dog and they'll just be like, hey, just keep loving me. They don't care. They just have that. It's amazing. Whereas a cat, yeah, not so much. They can be loving, but like you say, you kind of got to like not give them any. And then they're like, well, fine, I'll come get some. You know what I mean? It's like they don't just wait for it kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, it's the opposite.
So there's there's something in the Bible that mentions dogs, and it's something like, and my mom told me this, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's something like, even like a dog will wait by his master's feet for even crumbs. Like he'll be grateful to receive even the crumbs that fall at his master's feet.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure like what that. I mean, you're saying,
Yeah, I kind of remember what you're talking about, but I agree 100% because that's what it is. That's just how they are. I'm not hating on cats. They're different breed.
yeah.
I feel like if something happened to me or my wife, the dogs would really be sad, and the cat would be like, "All right, who's going to feed me?"
Mhm. Yeah, the cat might eat you.
Oh God.
God
Oh, what do I?
No, thank you.
I so badly want to see the water just go down her chest.
I know. If I can find it, I'll look. But no, it cuts right there. That feed, probably because it was so ridiculous. Okay, so let's see. What should I get into here? I've got all kinds of tabs that I didn't finish last night, but I know what I can do. I'll just fly through these and see where everyone having fun still. Hopefully, we have. Oh my goodness, we have 7 people on Rockfin, and thank you, waiting patiently. Thank you. Gave me a nice tip on a donation. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, and I also got one I forgot to mention. Of course, Heather every week, and then Sandra got a tip on reference. So thank you. I appreciate that. That's it's all things to help me get this going the way I do. So thank you. Oh, and I also, where is it? I like to support local. Let's see. I didn't get a chance to put any. This somebody sent me. I don't even know. So if you're watching, someone in the chat or let me know privately, but this came and I thought that's perfect because it looks just like Sarah and it's about what she does when she scratches. So that's cool. And
That's
then
nice.
isn't that? And then grounded extracts. His wife, not Naj and James, and they do tinctures and stuff. And they sent me a nice shirt and some little cool things. My wife ordered some stuff from because she does that too. I don't know if you or your wife ever got into that, but like trying to create your own medicines. I don't recommend it. Always just follow the government's guidelines. We're experimenting on ourselves. I say this all the time. I'm an experiment. Your guys are the control group. I'm the experiment. But we'll take plants, God forbid, and then ferment them or make them into tinctures that potentially are medicine. But definitely don't try this at home. But what I will tell you is in our experiments so far, we made mullein ear oil for an earache, and that actually fantastically worked. I know it's dangerous. Don't do it. And then we did some wild lettuce tincture, and that was for pain. And it actually helped. I've been writing down the dates that they helped us. And so it's interesting. I expect that, it'll probably kill us any day. That's why I tell people not to do it. But for us, it's been helping. See how I have to talk on YouTube? I have to talk, but I don't know anything. I'm not a doctor. I don't give medical, professional, or legal advice, and there are no experts.
There are no experts.
Who is that guy?
Oh my God, what movie was that from? See, I find these in all different weird movies. That was actually from the movie The Exorcist. I have a way of looking for the things that I'm looking for without having to watch the whole movie. And and so I grab my clips. But it tells me where they're from, but that's what that guy was from. So yeah. Okay. So let's see. Let me go with screen share here. And I was saying hi to everybody. Hi everybody. How's that?
Yeah, I'm just reading the chat here.
Oh, look at this. Hi. Okay. Alina. Did I get it?
No.
Damn it.
That was a brick.
I was
Alini.
Okay, the dismount I ruined. I had a lean and then it's a leany. Dang, yeah, I apologize, but nice to see you in the chat there. So I was so close. Now she's writing it phonetically. Thank you. That's how I asked God to talk to me. I said, God, when you tell me this answer, talk to me like I'm a 5-year-old that got held back a few years. You know what I mean? Like I really need to hammer it home. So thank you for Alini. I'll do my best.
Sign language.
In sign language. Yeah. Somebody asked me a really interesting question in my comments because we were discussing the changes that have happened in the scripture. And they said, have we checked into, is it happening to the Braille Bible? So I don't know. If there's anyone listening that knows how to read a Braille Bible, let us know if they're changing in there too. So that was interesting. So, okay. And Christian Soldier, the gentleman next to me, his name is Joe. He has a channel. He's got several channels. He's got Surveyor Raw and your mod. So throw your link in there when you get a chance if you haven't. And then he also does Picklin, which is him and his wife and his child that are traveling around trying to make their life better and getting out of the horrible city that I live next to.
Yeah, we got kind of different channels for different things. I got a channel where I just talk, and I got a channel like a family channel where we travel, and I got an auditing channel. So it's honestly it's too much to manage. I don't know what the hell's going on.
I don't know how you do it because, like I said, I did 2 shows now back to back, and I'm exhausted. And I'm on 2 different platforms. I ran it on my backup channel too because I think you have to keep stuff on there, or I will have an issue. So, but it's really and when I do this, to start Rockfin, I have to wait until the show's already running and then go and click that, and it's a nightmare. Yeah.
Oh, like when you first start the show, you have to start this, and then you have to go in there and say, okay, go.
Yeah.
It actually starts after the show starts.
Correct. Yeah. Rockfin, they're always at least 20 seconds behind YouTube, and YouTube is like 15 seconds behind you and I talking. So yeah.
I'm on Rumble, or I don't know if you're on Rumble or not, but
I'm not on it, but I think I have it. You know what? Okay, I'll give her. See, now my wife's yelling at me through the screen. It's funny. She's not even here, and she can tell me what to do. But where is Picklin? Are you in here? There you go. There we go. Done. Okay. But what's that?
I'm gonna time her out.
You can't now because you got a rich. You could have, but not anymore. But yeah, so it's like I don't even know what we were talking about. Squirrel. See what happens.
Squirrel. That's actually a thing in her videos. Have you seen that?
What's that? Tell me.
It's just before we deleted the Record America channel, her channel was Record America. Mm-hmm. And she had a thing where she just said squirrel.
Jeannie would probably tell me. I don't remember that. I mean, I've watched a lot of those.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, unfortunately, like not that many people watch her channel. Her
I
her
loved
channel is
her
one of the
auditing,
best auditing channels, but
hands
doesn't get
down.
viewers.
I loved it. I don't know why it wasn't more popular, but yeah, when she went to, and then she got attacked, and then nothing came from it too. It was just terrible. She went to one of the clinics.
Oh, by the older
Yeah.
man there.
Yeah, he threw a box in her face. It's terrible.
Yeah, we actually have a 911 call from that incident, but and it's exactly the same structure that I was just telling you earlier, where they call and they're like reporting. They're essentially calling 911 because she was assaulted, but they're calling 911 on her.
Yeah, yeah.
So the 911 call is really weird because they're explaining what happened, but the dispatcher is like, "Okay, but who are you calling 911 on?" You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, that woman got her face in front of my plastic box. That's what I'm calling about, right?
Yes, a woman assaulted my plastic bin with her face.
Yeah, right. Oh shoot. Okay. All right. Where are we at here? Let me see. Let me get these tabs up here.
Let's see what you got.
Okay. Well, some of this was no, not there. We start here. Because I was getting discussions about people, and everyone do their own thing. I'm cool with it. It's because even in the Bible it says it doesn't say exactly you do your own thing, but that's basically what it paraphrases to. Is if someone comes to your house and they eat a certain way, that's what you serve them. And if you go to someone's house and they eat a certain way, you eat what they serve you. And so people, like, some people don't want to eat meat, some people do, and to each their own. All of our bodies are different, our chemistry makeups are different, and I find that now, I mean, since my wife has left, I've lost quite a bit of weight, and no more I'm not drinking beers and any of that stuff. So what I find is, if I'm hungry for something, if I need it, my body will tell me. I'll walk by an orange and go, I need that orange right now, kind of thing. And I think as we get more in tune with our bodies, we do what fits our blood type or our body. And because if you go in here, that this just is 25 of them. There's so many that say that you can eat meat, because a lot of people say it doesn't say it in the Bible. And I was pulling up some interesting things, because where he says that where is it because even here it says if you eat meat, we're neither the better, or if we're not, it doesn't matter. Again, it goes to what you do to your body, and how you prey on the food and stuff. Because well, a lot of these I'll just skip some of these because there's so many. But there was one that said, because here's one where Peter hears a voice and says, rise and kill and eat. And he says, no, I've never eaten something that's unclean or common. And he says, what God has cleansed, you can't call common. And there's multiple passages that say that once you ask for God's blessing, this is why I think it's extremely important. I pray on everything, not just when I'm making it, but when I'm eating it. Because one that believes that he may eat all things, another who is weak eateth herbs. This is, Romans 14:2. So I don't know. Again, to each their own. I'm just saying there's plenty of times. So that's New International Version. But even so, it says the same thing. If you eat meat and you pray to God and thank him, that's great. If you don't eat meat and you pray to God and thank him, that's great too. It doesn't matter. And so I think it's another way to divide us. We're being divided on religions. We're being divided on what our gender is. We're being divided on everything. And then we're being divided on what we're supposed to eat. Because anytime that the government establishment is trying to push an agenda, it makes me question it, right? And so they're pushing that we've got too many cows and they're farting and it's causing climate change, and that's why everything's burning in California, right? And so, if you read that, with nothing is unclean in itself, but it's unclean for anyone who thinks it's unclean. So I believe that you just continue to do what you feel works for your body. don't get drunk or get gluttonous. Those are bad. But it definitely says that. And so I just thought I'd cover that really fast. Didn't have to have any necessary commentary. I just thought it was interesting.
So I have a question for you real quick.
Yes, go right ahead.
So you were reading the Bible, but
Mhm.
you didn't know you're reading the Bible.
Right.
You're a Jew.
Correct. Well,
So
I'm allowed to say that you can't hit the hard W. You have to say ish.
I have to say Jewish. Is that a thing? Is that a real
No,
thing?
I'm
Is that a
just
thing?
giving you shit. Anyways, continue.
But your family is Jewish.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So how'd you settle on the King James version rather than the others?
Well, so when I decided I wanted to look into the Bible, I don't even know exactly where I was looking, but I was looking into what they were saying was like the closest to the original writings. And they said at that article I was reading was King James. So that's where I started looking. And then my wife got me, well, I think it's downstairs. She got me my first, King James, and that's where I was. And because I think we talked about it once before, because I had to take a voice and diction class back in my college days, and in it, they made us read Shakespeare, which it's like reading the Bible. It's really difficult language once when you're starting it, but after a while, just like you were saying, the poetry, there's a flow and a poetry to the way that they speak, and so to me, it was easier because I liked thinking, okay, this is the way they talk rather than getting like a new international version. I just felt that, it's already been changed at some point so many ways when you get to King James, and then you're going to continue to change it to make it easier to read. That's good if somebody wants to do that. I wanted to try to go with as close as I could to original.
So the King James is quite a bit more poetic than like the New International or the New Standard versions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it too. Although I didn't choose the King James version, it was the default version that my family.
It was smacked in your face.
Yeah. No, and it's actually more difficult to understand.
Yeah.
But I think I like it better for that reason. I got a lot more into poetry and stuff when I was older, so I didn't have an appreciation really for the Bible as literature until I
Yeah.
was older. I understood the Bible as like commands, like rules or something. I didn't really understand it as poetry until much later.
And that's the other thing too, is like if you hear, like I said, I don't read the other ones. I've looked at them, for certain different things, but like if Jesus is like, having a speech in front of a bunch of people and he's like, thou this and thou that versus yo, come here, and that's kind of the way I saw it. Like that's going to be made easier to read, but it's probably not even close to really how it was sounding. Because Jesus talks in parables. That was the other thing. I was like, well, why can't he just tell us straight up? And then that's the whole teach a man to fish. Because if he just tells you straight up, well, then he's just doing it for you. It's kind of the way I see the life that we have. We have choices. We have free will. Yeah, we have to stay under God's law and try to, do that do no harm thing or whatever. But we have free will to make our own decisions, right or wrong. Because if God just did everything for us and there was no obstacles, well, that's not free will at all, right? It's going to be, we come up to an obstacle and then we either have to find a way around it. But if we can't, I think that's where the faith comes in. And then you just say, well, Jesus, if I can't find a way around it, can you just help me through it? Huh?
That's very true.
That sort of reminds me of I guess I'm not exactly sure if it's a story or what. When I started learning about Buddhism, somebody comes to the Buddha and they're about to transcend, or they want to transcend into nirvana. They've died, and they say, "Well, why didn't you like warn me about any of this stuff?" And the Buddha says, "Well, did you ever see an old man before? And the person's like, well, yeah. He's like, well, I warned you. You ever see a sick person before? They couldn't walk or had some ailments? Well, yeah, I saw that. Well, told you. You know what I mean? That
I
was
like
kind
it.
It's kind of in a parable, like the Buddha uses these parables, but it's he uses a lot of like the parables are like from real life with the Buddha, like he's like, "Ah, told you so."
That's
Did you
great.
see the old man who was dying? You should have known. You were just like him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Known you were coming here.
right. Well, it reminds me, there's a story that Abraham and his dad made all kinds of idols and stuff. And he went and visited somewhere, I think it was his dad's house, and he went to this idol room. And at that point, he had like given up on the idols and he was into God. And so there was like one big idol in there, and he took a stick or something, a staff, and he smashed every idol that was in this idol room. And then he stuck the stick in the hand of the one. And then when his dad showed up, he's like, "Oh my God." And he's got really mad at him. And he's like, "Well, what do you mean? What makes you think I did it? He's the one holding the stick. He's the one that did it." And he had like no argument, because like if he said no, he can't possibly do that, well, then they deserve to be broken because they're all idols and God doesn't like it. But if otherwise you're going to tell me he can come to life, that's different. And so, yeah, I think that's interesting, these stories and how they have these like parables and stuff, and they teach us stuff. I mean, when I was talking last night, as you heard to John, I mean, that poor man, he's lost everything because he sees the changes in the Bible and he brought it to the attention of his family, and they all shooed him away. And so he's literally living the life of Job right now, to where he's all alone. And he's looking around going, I don't understand what happened here. I just was speaking out the way I was supposed to when we saw these changes, and now I'm being shunned. And I told him, I said, when I read the book of Job, first of all, it bothered me, but now I'm starting to really comprehend. It's so much in that book. But the idea that no matter what happened to Job, he never cursed God, and even everyone around him told he should have. And the fact that he never did, that was a testament, a lesson. Like you just said, that whole Buddha thing. It's like, wait a minute. If you're going through troubles right now, because we all are experiencing things throughout our lives. And when we want to go, woe is me, and lose our faith because God's checked out and he's obviously not helping right now. No, you got to go, wait a minute. Remember what Job went through? That's even worse than what I'm going through. And he didn't lose his faith. And I think that's what these stories are for. Just like you're saying, the whole Buddha thing, even though the Buddha was probably eating at McDonald's when he was saying it,
Yeah, that reminds me of like, I heard somewhere recently, someone was saying, I asked God for strength, and instead he gave me obstacles to overcome.
I like it.
So it's not like he didn't turn you into Schwarzenegger. Instead, he just put something in your way. And you're
Right.
like, oh, God, why did you do this to me? Well, you asked for strength.
100%. Yeah, because you can get a gym membership, but if you just sit on the couch and going, why isn't anything working? Otherwise, you got to go there and what's that?
I'm a member.
Yeah. What's happening? I'm a member. I've been a member for a month. Nothing's happening. Yeah. But no, you've got to exercise those muscles. You got to exercise the faith muscles. So you want to get stronger in your faith. Well, know that the tests will get stronger, not easier. But getting through it will get easier each time. But then the next test is going to be another level. And that's that saying that I have always hated, but I understand it now. God only gives you what he knows you can handle. And sometimes I'd be like, I don't think you're right on this one, but no, we're alive. We're here. We have a roof over our head. We have food in our bellies. And, and the people in the chat, they have enough to be able to be here online and stuff. So it's like, we have so many blessings. And that's when I took the word luck out of my vocabulary. And anytime something was wonderful or great or lucky or a coincidence, I would say, what a blessing. And then when you realize how often you say it, well, then you count your blessings, right?
That's very true.
I just had to lead into that one.
Yeah, and I was saying luck all the time.
Right?
You know.
Switch that out and see how often you say blessing. It's pretty wild. So, okay.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely in the habit of saying luck. I'm gonna have to really make a concerted effort to switch it out for blessing. But I think it will make a difference.
It does, and it changes easily. You'll be surprised how fast you start learning it. So I used to do it with my business too. When I had a customer come in and I'd show them something, they go, "Do you have anything cheaper?" Absolutely not. I don't carry anything cheap. I have some less expensive items. Let me show you that. Because it's all about words, right? Like God spoke everything to existence, and we're still resonating from that now. And they teach you, what is it? Words, as it sticks and stones and break your bones, but words don't hurt. That's not true at all. Words, they're powerful. They really are. That's the way I feel.
Yeah, they say words will never hurt me, but really, words are extremely powerful. Yeah, and they do hurt.
Yeah, especially when they do this.
Quiet.
It's so funny because I play those clips. That's not him at all. Like if you watch any of your other auditing that I remember, you really didn't do that except that when you
No.
were in that character. And oh my God, I love those clips.
Well, I only did it because that's what they're doing.
Right. They were yelling orders and stuff to you too.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do that normally.
I know.
I feel ashamed, actually.
Oh, please don't. I want to keep playing them. So we'll
No.
pretend it's not you.
It really feels like it's not me.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't. It really isn't you. It's that funny character that's up here on the top screen. If you can see my arrows up there with the mask going like this.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, let's see. Let me get through some of these tabs. Oops, clickety click, wrong one. This way, and that way. Okay, let's see. I think we're here. Oh, and just for anybody, I've talked about this multiple times. This channel, I don't know who does it. It's called Grace for Purpose. And man, you can put on, they have like that one's a 1 hour. That's this one here. I'm going to throw in the chat because I don't know how you listen to this and whoops, stop. Okay. I don't know how you listen to this and not get something out of it. That I'll put them on in the background. They have some you can put a playlist and it'll play for like 6 hours or so. And oh, what's he got there? I'm seeing something you were holding. I didn't see.
It's I think it's called a green lacewing, and it's been following me around and landed on me for a couple days now. It eats like mites and stuff that land on plants, so it's good if you have plants. But it just came in the house, and it's like become my friend. It's like a little insect.
Really? Here,
Just let me pick it up, and I just put it back.
Let me
down.
stop sharing so I could here. Go ahead and make it here. Show that again.
I'm going to show him here. Let me pick him up.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't see you were doing that.
It's flying around. Oh, here he is. Well, see, I thought he was going to run away from me, but then he came right back.
Oh, he just flew away.
He's on the screen now.
I did see him though. That's funny.
He has like transparent wings, and
Joe made a friend.
I don't really like insects, but this guy he likes me.
Hey. Yeah, what do I have for that? I don't know if I have anything. Anyways, okay, let me go back to and Rockfin. I'll throw it in the link in a little bit. It's called Grace for Purpose, but it's too hard for me to do that. And hi, Annie D, I see you. I like to check over there, see who's there. Valley Parks.
Oh, Melanie knows what it is. She says lace wings are awesome.
Oh, of course. Excellent. All right. What was I pulling up here? Let me get this. Okay. Here we go. So I think we were here. Okay. And that one's called, what is that? It was March 11th, an hour of powerful. I don't know. It's pretty cool. Because, one of the things it talks about in some of these is like, are you blessing everything? We bless ourselves. We bless our food. Did you bless your pets? Have you blessed your home? Why not have a power of protection over all of it, right? Just if God can do a firmament over everything, he could do little ones over people. He could do it over your house, your family. So definitely don't forget to bless your animals. Okay, let's start with this. I thought this was funny. It's called trolling workers at a construction site. What do you think? Yeah, right? I think that's funny. Okay, what's next? Oh, I wanted to cover this. For those people that don't breastfeed or can't, they're I'm sorry?
I don't breastfeed.
Yes. Well, you can now, apparently. Right? Isn't that what we're supposed to be told? They actually have, it's called, I apologize. I'm offending someone right now, I'm sure. It's called chest feeding now. Did you know that?
Yes, I did. I did.
Chest feeding.
My wife gives me shit because I don't chest feed.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's in the Bible now too. It talks about men.
No, it's not.
Yes, I could look for it, but I can't do it on camera. I'll find it and send it to you. But it talks about men breastfeeding.
Oh
yeah.
my, no way.
Oh yeah, everything's getting all screwy in there. That's why I'm saying you got to read it before it's too late, because it's changing so much that it's getting unreadable, unrecognizable almost. But they want to make sure that they tell you there's a supply shortage. Okay, but in addition to that, there's been recalls and stuff that people have been talking about. And so someone, let's see, did I get it on here? Well, let's see. That one's talking about how they're running out. Oh, this gal. So she talks about this thing, and she showed on her channel, because you're not supposed to do anything natural or remedies at home.
Does
So
this girl have red hair?
I think so. Yeah. She's right there. So she showed this horrific thing that I don't want anyone to do, because it's probably dangerous. But look what they did back in the day before they had formula. They were using 7 ounces of evaporated milk, 14 ounces of water, 2 level tablespoons of Caro syrup, and I think you can substitute other things for that, and then 3 ounces into 6 different bottles. And that's what they were doing. It sounds extremely dangerous, so I don't recommend it. But I just thought I'd show that for the people that are having trouble finding formula, and if they can't or don't breastfeed. So, or men don't want to, or couches. If you chest feed, So isn't that interesting? Back in the day, when we actually talked to our old people, they would say, hey, if you have a problem, you can do this. This was what, 1957. Oh, good. No notifications. How do I get rid of that thing? Oh, whatever. There it goes.
This breastfeeding thing.
Chest feeding.
The chest feeding. I mean, I can't. I just can't. I just can't do it. Like this breastfeeding thing, my wife has rejected formula from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like, our daughter was born in a birth center, natural, with no drugs and everything. And then
Nice.
we had to go to the hospital because after she was born in the birth center, we had to go to the hospital because she had low oxygen saturation. So my wife had to stay in the birth center and get stitches. And I went with the baby alone to the hospital in an ambulance. And she told me, like, don't let them give the baby formula. She was really opposed to formula from the very beginning. And she wanted to breastfeed. And so long story short, the breastfeeding was really difficult for her.
Mm-hmm.
It was painful for a long time, for months and months on end.
Yeah. And
she could barely do it. She was crying, actually. She would be breastfeeding and crying from the pain, and it got better, but she had to have a serious amount of fortitude to get through that couple months where it was.
That's amazing.
And I can just imagine, like, this sort of culture we're in now of convenience and ease and stuff like that. Why are people Why are mothers giving formula?
My wife and I were discussing that too, because see, the other thing,
pain? Is it just the convenience and the trying to escape from the pain?
I think it's probably both possible. I mean, again, with us not knowing, we could chest feed, but since I haven't, it could be a combination, either or both, because the pain, but then also it is so convenient when you're at the grocery and just get that can of something and not even see, I've covered so many times on this show that we eat and drink things and we never look at what's inside it. And I'll go through lists of things with words that you can't pronounce, with letters. Some of them have numbers and the letters in them. It's insane. And we just go ahead and drink it and eat it because the government approved it. And yet, but it's way easier to do that than to go through like what you just said, which that's fantastic. It's amazing that she did that, but it's that important. That's what parenting, that's what motherhood, fatherhood is. It's not an inconvenience. You've now accepted the responsibility that you've brought a life into this world and you're responsible for that life. And the society makes it so we'll just buy food someone else made. And then when they're old enough, we'll ship them off to a daycare so we can both work. And then when they're old enough, we'll ship them off to school so someone else could teach them how to be a person. And that's not the society that we were, at least our grandparents and our parents grew up in. By the time you and I came around, it was already starting to change. Some of our friends were divorced and some were both working and that kind of thing. But prior to that, it was like a family dinner and stuff. I think the microwave is another one too. What? Sorry.
That's like what we do with food as well. The same thing with like the formula as opposed to breastfeeding. I mean, we don't go out and, well, at least most people don't go out and raise their own chickens and butcher their chickens and cook the chicken. They instead of hunting or gathering their food, they literally take a trip to the grocery store and it's already butchered and it has no face, and you buy it in a nice package with plastic and you just pull it out and put some salt on it. It's like the same thing as formula. Actually, she just commented in the chat here. It turns out babies bite because the baby's biting her nipples.
Oh, geez.
Now she has teeth, and she's still breastfeeding a baby with teeth now, and so now it's a whole thing about you can't bite, but it's
and that's the other thing, that if you don't express that milk, they can get infected because the body's producing it for the baby, and if it's not coming out, that could be an issue.
Well, and in terms of convenience, I know they're saying about formula for convenience, but I mean, obviously I'm not breastfeeding the baby, but to have breasts which you can feed a baby with, that's convenience. And I'm saying that as a person who's been traveling across the country, not being able to stop and stuff, like just driving for long hours all the time, being in weird places. She can feed the baby wherever. We don't need to go to the grocery store. We just pull over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she just feeds the baby right there. That's convenience.
Yeah.
And you can tell that it's meant to be that way. When you're really into it, you can tell, like, oh, it's obvious, like it's supposed to be like this,
Yeah. And I see, Monica, there are pumps, but at the same time, unless you're planning on not being around the baby for a length of time, I would think you don't need the pump necessarily because you got your boobs with you, right?
Monica's saying there are pumps available and you can give them the bottle. Yeah, because you pump your milk into a bottle.
Right. But they could just get it directly from the source, unless there's a problem where mom's not going to be around. But see, then that's another thing. Well, if I pump a whole bunch of stuff and put it in the fridge, then I can go to work. That wasn't the way it was supposed to be set up.
Well, that's actually what we had to do because she was working. So I took care of the baby for the first couple months, and she would like pump a lot of milk at night, and I would give the baby like 4 or 5 bottles during the day, breast milk. But we didn't really want to do that, but at least it was breast milk and not formula.
Right. And like I said, you did it for a reason. Mom wasn't going to be near the baby. Otherwise, the baby's right there. And Well, it's a mindset. It's a way of thinking of things. Like, what is convenience? And it turns out the way God set it up is the most convenient. It's just right there, and so is the baby. So, and you don't have to get hot water and mix in some chemicals and not know what it is. Yeah.
There was a journalist who I can't remember her name, but she put out a call and she said she was looking to interview mothers who were impacted by the baby formula shortage. And I sent her an email and I said, "Hey, my wife can do an email with you about not being impacted by it." But she didn't get back to me. So. Not what she was looking for.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So, like, I definitely breastfeeding or chest feeding, whatever, breastfeeding. It's just enough of the nonsense. That's the best way to go. But if you need to pump it and put it in a bottle, because if you do the formula, here we go. This is what's in Gerber with the cute little baby face on it. I mean, here, where's the image?
Vegetable oil.
See the cute little baby face? Oh, well, that's what I want. That looks like a happy baby. Yeah, but let's see what's actually in it. Let's see, vegetable oils, right? And then whey protein is like non-fat dairy, dry milk, soy lecithin, calcium citrate, potassium citrate, corn maxilladextrin, potassium chloride, and then there you go. See, look at this one. 2.0- fucosolatos, I'm sure I said that wrong, comma C. What is this? What are we giving
I
our
always
children?
give my daughter fucosolatos.
Right? It's good for yeah. I don't even know what it's good for. Fucosolatos. Did they really write that to like goof on the people buying the product?
Oh my god.
Fucosolatos. Oh my god, where's my rim shot guy? I can't get to the screen. Here, I'll make this larger if anybody can't see. Look at the ingredients in this that we're giving our children that everyone's so upset that we can't get. It's like the shelves are entering. Yeah, I can't get my corn maxilladextrin for my child. What's this world coming to?
Oh shit. Oh man.
Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, I hope mothers that can't feed their babies can feed them. I mean, but
yeah, but like I showed you, there's other ways to do it without going through these chemicals that these companies are producing. You know, just like what was it? Who's the one? Johnson & Johnson, the one that makes the wonderful things nowadays. They had a one of the largest lawsuits in history because their talcum powder was like, I don't know, causing cancer or killing babies or something. And they knew it and they kept selling it. So, and Johnson & Johnson, everyone's like, oh, I know that company. They make the shampoo you don't cry. Yeah, they got to make good things. Just like this, put a cute baby on the front and then put a bunch of stuff in it. Nobody even knows what it is. And that's the thing. When I'll look up something, like you can look up, let's look up this one. I have to. It's driving me crazy. Let's see. No, this one. Fucolatos. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. What is? It's part of the fucosolated. What is this?
You'll see, you can't really make sense of it.
No. And it's the non-fucosolated neutral HMOs, whatever that is. Oh, and if you're a secretor, 2FL is by far the most abundant. And like, again, it's numbers and math and nonsense, and you'll never figure it out. But you can always type in things like this and say, you can always type in side effects. Look, you don't even have to finish it. It fills it in. So let's see what they are. Oh, let's see. Flatulence, bloating,
I was about to say, it's diarrhea. How come diarrhea is like the main side effect on every medicine? Explosive diarrhea.
Yeah, explosive. That's what you want on your newborn. Give them some fucosolatos, and they have explosive diarrhea. Okay, I'm done with this. Just the fact that everyone's up in arms over it. There's a lot of other ways to feed your baby, even if you can't do the breastfeeding. There are other options, and you can look it up. And if you can't look it up, ask an old person, because they didn't have formula a long time ago back in the day, right? So, okay, Well, if I don't do this right now, there's several people in the audience will get mad at me. So here we go, Joe. It's time for scary space news.
This week in scary space news.
I love my cutaways. Okay. Oh, and yes, pickling. Yeah, goat milk. See, there's a lot of ways. A lot of ways are figured out. So yeah. Okay, where are we at? Scary space news. Okay, clickety click. Okay. All right. So this was amazing. So this is astronomers have revealed the first groundbreaking image of a Milky Way's black hole. So this is the actual image at the center of our Sagittarius arm, which I think has changed because I thought we were in the Orion. But in any case, now we're in Sagittarius and the black hole at the center of the Milky Way. But then when you read the article, it is, where is it? Where is it? Let's see. They said, I just can't wait to find it here. But basically, it's a picture of an invisible thing. They tell you that you actually, we still can't actually see the black hole, right? Until now, that is. So what do? It's cartoons and renditions. The image of the invisible. So they're saying that through science and math, and they're able to put together this whatever this blurry thing is. A lot of people think it looks like the end of like Snoop Dogg's Roach, but it's just weird that this is what we get. We pay money, we pay billions of dollars to get that, and then they tell you it's a picture of the invisible. What does that even make any sense?
That's scary.
Yeah. Now there's your money at use. Then if you look at all these, see this? An image. And if you look up, here, I'll do it with you because you weren't here when I did this a long time ago. Definition of image. Not imagery. Image. Okay. So a representation of an external form of a person or thing in art. That's the number one definition for an image is art, right? Not a photo, art. And because of that, they can get away with this is an image. And if you read up on it, it turns out this is an artist's rendition of what they think it looks like because computers, they get it as a computer screen. It's a whole bunch of numbers and zeros and stuff. I've looked into so much of this stuff. The same thing with like the radiology and whatever and how they can see the computer. There's a program that says, if I see these ones and zeros, this is the drawing I think it's going to be. And it's the person that created the program that's creating the drawing basically. Because you go look you look outside and you use a regular telescope or even binoculars, and you can see these stars and they change colors and they flash. Have you seen that, Joe?
No.
Oh, I'll have to see if I can find that before we're done here. But we're getting along in the night here, and I haven't barely got through my tabs. So scary space news. This is the first picture of a black hole, but that's not even the scariest spaces news. We have breaking news.
Breaking news. With Ceiling Fan Man. Take it away, Ceiling Fan Man.
That's me in my coat.
Look official.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So my wife just sent me this before we went on the air. Julia Thomas put this. There's another gigantic asteroid that's bigger than the Empire State Building, and it's heading to Earth. Isn't that scary?
Well, that's a new tweet. New York Post.
That's right. So coming soon to you. So watch out. Hopefully Bruce Willis will get on this one like he did last time. So That's an Armageddon joke. What's next? Oh, you know what? This is a game that I had played. I don't know if we have time for that. We can come back to that. But where are we at here? So this is an interesting thing. I don't know. I wanted to talk to you about, besides the fact that they fake space, they also fake our past with evolution. You can't find evolution in any other species. Like a crocodile still looks like a crocodile kind of thing. And yet there's a monkey that turned into us. And when we were kids, they said it was Lucy. And they still talk about Lucy to this day. You can look it up and there it is, like she's a real thing. But there's been multiple articles that said it's all faked. Like she was just an ape, including this article. And there was another one, I think. What is this one? Baboon bones. So if you go to a museum, I don't know if you know this, Joe, but when you go into like the dinosaur museum, and I'm not saying that there weren't giants or giant animals, but the dinosaurs that they told us, it's a lie. And the evolution thing, they keep finding these bones with baboons or monkeys, and they're being what do you call it? Say that they're fake, but yet nobody talks about that. And if you go to the museums where they have dinosaurs, the dinosaur bones are all just what do you call it? Casts, plaster casts. And supposedly the real bones they have locked away downstairs in the Smithsonian and stuff. But these bones are fake. And the fact that they're actually now making, I mean, this whole world's getting perverted. And so now you take your son or your daughter, your couch to see the dinosaur exhibit, and they showing you how they have sex, which if you actually look into it, it really doesn't make any sense. Joe's like, what show is this? But look at this. Let's see, not this article. Let me see. Oh, click to see, not safe for work. So they actually have a drawing as to what they think the dinosaurs, oops, come on, get out of here, how they had sex. But sometimes all they have is a tooth, and then they decide what the animal looked like. But if you only have like a few pieces of the bone, you have no idea what the skin looked like or the color of the animal or how they had sex. But this is like insane. They're talking 100-ton Putarosaurus. It had to be very challenging, they say.
100 tons?
But wait, there's more. That's not even it. How about a Stegosaurus? I mean, come on.
So isn't 100 tons 200,000 pounds?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right on that one. I'd hit you on a yes, very true. But
his testis was like where his heart, where like our heart is.
And then how do you do this? Yeah. And then don't how about this one? This was one of my favorite dinosaurs growing up, the Triceratops, and because they'd always have him fight the T-Rex, right? I don't know if you're familiar with the Triceratops. If you were a kid,
plant eater.
Yes. And do you know that he was completely fake? Oops, I don't want a National Post subscription. It never actually existed. Boom. How about that one?
Whoa.
Blowing your mind, huh? And this article came out 11 years ago. So, but all the other ones I'm sure are true, right? Just because they're all fake bones in the museum, because they told us they're true, right? Because the lady like this finds it. She finds the most historic dinosaur T-Rex Sue. It's named after her. And where are these images moving? See, that's them finding it. I don't know. This is her pretending to like do stuff. I mean, come on. Let's get an action shot. Pretend you're like, I've played with this at the Science Museum in Seattle. They have these. You can play with it,
You got a picture just like that?
Yeah, I do. I'll look for it. Yeah. I don't know what the snake monster is that she's holding up here. That was an interesting image that he has. I mean, she has. And
She looks like Ric Flair.
Oh, shit. Woo! Okay, I'm going back. Do that again.
Woo! I
Oh
do it
my
louder
God.
when the baby's sleeping.
Oh, you're right. That's okay. Oh my God. Oh, that hurt. Okay, what's next? Yeah, this is her. And anyway, so they get this giant T-Rex down, and then they put this up, which isn't it. Because these are all just plaster casts of what she looks like. There's probably downstairs, there's, however many pieces are real that are downstairs below.
The rest of them are like made up.
Yeah, yeah. And provably so. You can look at it. It's like this in every museum. And so these are like, you're going to take these fragments and make that dinosaur. You know what I mean? Look at, they were able to figure out this monstrous dinosaur from this. And that's of the Maya Merocothorax, which was a newly identified megaraptor dinosaur that inhabited Argentina, Plantonian. Like they know, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, they were there and they saw it, and that's why they're letting us know. So they're going to tell you what the skin looked like, the color of the animal, how it had sex, how it mated, where it lived. Come on. And these are the people that got paid to do this. So, but yeah, isn't that interesting? So they'll.
Yeah, I heard a velociraptor is like the size of a turkey. I don't know if that's true or not. But I always thought of like a velociraptor, like in Jurassic Park. They're
right,
like miniature T-Rexes, but they're still really big.
Yeah,
but
that's funny.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Now you just kick him away like a chicken.
Yeah, it's like a chicken. It's like a chicken. Like
well, they say that too. They say, well, if you want to see dinosaurs, they're the birds and the chickens. I'm like, that doesn't quite fit. Well, okay. Oh, if that's what you want to. But yeah, look, see this? Museum fossils. Fossil bones are heavy, delicate, and scientifically valuable. So they're stored away to protect them from damage. Most of all of the prehistoric skeletons you see in museums are lightweight models built by attaching replicas of real fossil bones to steel frames. See? It's all fake. It's all fake. And there's cameras everywhere. Shout out to your channel. Oh, those are lights, but still, that's a camera. It's just a camera. Another one of his channels. But yeah, isn't that something? I didn't know that growing up, but I do know it now. And so you're seeing these things. Here's Sue on display. But no, this is the plaster cast on display. And the rest of her, whatever they got, is down below. So, anyways.
Well, that's the one that's named after that woman.
Yeah, this is what Sue's supposed to look like. If she were real, the way they found, I don't know, but they don't. This isn't her. This is just a replication. It's like we said about images. This is a replica of what we think she looked like. Okay, cool. Oh, and this could go with scary space news, but they just this was also yesterday. They have discovered evidence. There was a controversial asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. Now, I know I've heard this my whole life, but now there's a 6-mile wide asteroid that killed them, according to the artistic illustration. And then it says photo credit. See? Now they call it a photo because they took a picture of his drawing.
Oh boy.
Wow. That's the first time I've seen that.
See, it's getting really confusing here.
Yeah. So it's an illustration, and then they took a photo of it, and they gave credit to the person that took the photo. Wonderful. So, yeah. But again, well, that's why we got to watch out, because this is, I guess, happening again, right? It's not 6 miles wide, but it's as tall as the Empire State Building. So what's next? This page. Oh, and this I found interesting. I've seen this many times, but I didn't know if you had seen this. It proves that it doesn't take 65 million years to fossilize. They found this cowboy boot with the fossilized foot still inside of it. And the thing is by the rubber sole on this boot, it can't be millions of years old. They said the common rubber sole boot began in 1870 or 1871. So at most a couple hundred years.
Yeah.
So once again, science is wrong. You know, they tell us that the reason our gas price is now $5 a gallon is because there's not many dinosaurs left, right? Because it comes from them. Remember that show, mobile commercial where it would jump into your tank? I don't know if you remember that, but
what a dinosaur fossil.
Yeah, they would say the dinosaur fossils then became oil, and then we use it for gas. And then when people are like, "Well, that doesn't make any sense," they're like, "Well, any plant can be fossilized in dinosaur time, and that's also oil." But no, if you actually research oil, do you know it refills itself even when they drain it? It comes back. It's like a natural occurring liquid like water. Only they want us to think that everything is scarce. And if you have a population that's afraid if everything's scarce, that's a population you could control. But if you find out that there's food and water and areas to live, and there's so much of it. I mean, go through California, you'll just see miles of empty land. And then everyone's crammed into one little city. But that's by design, because then you can control, like you saw in Seattle, they can control the populace. They can tell them what to do, put on something on their face, take it off, sit down, stand up. You can't do that if you're out on your own figuring stuff out. You don't need the government. So,
yeah, I can see that. Actually, we've seen that like property is scarce, but then when we drive around, we see like just tons of property. Even we see abandoned properties.
yeah,
They just look like ready to be ready to be lived in. You know?
yeah. So, okay, what do we have left? Did I get through? Let's see.
Somebody says, "Don't hurt your family, Antifa."
What's that?
Somebody in the chat says, "Don't hurt your family, Antifa."
Oh. I'm not sure what the reference is there. But okay, let's see. Let's see. We did that. Let me get rid of that. I just seen where we're at here. Okay, well, I think let's see. I'll go to this and we'll just finish this up here. So fossilized leg. Okay, so when here, let me get this real quick. And if you'd like to have a little discussion on the Mandela Effect, let me basically what happened for me was I'd heard about it and my kids were talking about it, I think, and it didn't really register. And then the Bernstein Bear thing hit me, because when I was a kid, being a little Jewish kid, of course, I'd recognize Berenstein was Steen, right? And now it's Berenstain. And so that was like the first one that triggered me. And I started looking into it, and I came across this video, which I found again, and it's called 100 Mandela Examples. And the first time I was watching it, like I had to keep pausing it because I was like kind of freaking out. I didn't have anyone tell me about it before. I just heard a few things about it. And I spent about 2 days trying to figure out how it's happening and why it's happening and how they're doing it and who's doing it. And then I figured out I'll never most likely know any of those answers, how it's happening, who's doing it, why. But my takeaway is I believe, of course, everything God allows. And I believe it's a way of God letting us know that the world we live in is different than we thought, as far as there is a spiritual aspect to it. There are spiritual attacks, and we can ward them off. But if we don't know we're in a fight, then we can't fight, and we'll just be tossed around. And so when I look at it, it doesn't matter if things have changed, because none of the changes have affected my life in any way. They sometimes are funny, they're irritating, but they don't bother me, other than, to me, it's a reminder that God's there. And that's the way I see it. But having preference that, you want to look at a few?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. It was this. Click here. And there. Clickety click here. Okay. So this was a channel. He's still got a channel, Hidden Knowledge. I haven't watched anything he's done in forever. But this is the one that started me off trying to figure this out. So it's called Mandela Effect, and it's a terrible name. They saddled us with it on purpose because there's a thing, some people remember him dying in prison. And then, of course, now he comes out of prison, becomes president of Africa or whatever. So prime minister, whatever. But it's really not a big effect that most people have a problem, care one way or the other. But let's see. I'll speed this up and then how do we do this? Oops. Now I've messed it all up. Okay, how about this one? Do you remember the Village People? If you've been to a wedding, you've heard YMCA. You there, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so there's 6 members. One of them is a soldier. And I don't remember 2 dark complected people in here. I just remember these 5. I don't remember the soldier. So, all right, well, keep going. Let me know if you want me to stop or something resonates with you. Of course, we covered this last week or a couple weeks ago.
The gun.
Yeah, that's a weird one. And now they all have weapons. Like the Tin Man has a gigantic wrench now, like out of a cartoon. And I think this guy has a hammer or something along with the net.
The lion has a hammer?
Yeah. Oh, we'll look here. I thought we did this last time, but let's look. Wizard of Oz gun. We'll start there. Yeah. So what do we got here? Yeah, that's the giant hammer the lion has. See the big wrench that he has? He has a gun. I think Dorothy's the only one that doesn't have an extra weapon. And they don't tell you what happens to all these. Like when they're taken away by the monkeys, you don't see a gun on the ground and a hammer and a wrench. They're just gone.
What's the big thing the Tin Man's got there?
Let me see if I get a better Tin Man picture. See, he's got a wrench. See how I make this. Oh, shoot. Where'd it go? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Look at that gigantic wrench he has. Because he has the axe still. See, there's his axe.
It's the lion who has a hammer.
Oh, yeah. And a net. See, I remember him having a net. He still has it. I remember him having an axe or hatchet. He still has it. But then he got a wrench. He got a hammer thing. He got a gun. They're all armored up, just like the cops. Yeah, there's his net. See? It's pretty wild, isn't it? It's pretty fascinating how this can happen. And then if you really research it, like a lot of weird stuff has happened to him. His nose is like a lot of things have happened to his face.
Yeah, he looks different.
Yeah, he's completely, a lot of things have changed. It's pretty wild. A lot of things in this movie have changed, really. Yeah, like when that scary scene, when the witch says, here, let me get out of this real quick. When the monkeys, she opens the window and she tells them to fly. And most people, like even the Simpsons have it, where she yells, "Fly, my pretties, fly." And now she's never said that. She just says, "Fly, fly, fly." And yet you can find thousands of people reciting it. "Fly, my pretties, fly."
Yeah, I've definitely heard that.
Yeah, not anymore. Now she just says, "Fly, fly, fly." Like, it's weird. I think he's got it on this one too. Yeah. And if this is tripping you out, it trips everyone out. And I know you have a family and you're figuring your shit out at the same time. Don't let this scare you. Just know that God's real. That's what I take away from it. And get talking to him, because this stuff is weird, man. Okay, so next, let's see. Yeah, this one, of course, is a big one. She never said mirror, mirror on the wall. She says slave in the magic mirror. Where is it? Magic mirror on the wall. And then when people say, "Oh, I remember mirror, mirror," then the response is, "Oh, yeah, because that's the way it was written in the book." But I don't know anyone that's read the book. Have you read the book? I don't.
No.
I've never. No, we watched the cartoon. We were kids. We didn't read a book. Yeah, so that's changed. If you watch it now, she doesn't say that. This one is weird. And
She
this
said
one's actually.
slave, you said?
I'm sorry?
She said slave?
Yeah, I think it's now Slave in the Magic Mirror. I can't even play Disney on here. They'll definitely strike or take us down. But check it out sometime. I think she says Slave in the Magic Mirror, something like that. Yeah. It's really weird. It's really changing. And then this one's changed twice now for me, is the eye sockets used to have no bone here. And because, you could see the snake go in and out and one or the other. And now that doesn't make sense. And when we first talked about this like a year or so ago, it was a solid bone. And now, since I've looked at it just recently, now you got these extra holes in here behind these bones. So that's weird. But there was never any bone back here in the original when I was growing up. So that's a weird one. And number 5, Tony the Tiger's nose. Some people thought it was black. I really don't have a vote on this one. But I do know I've seen J.C. Penney enough to know that it wasn't written like the word penny, like it with the extra E. That one's a weird one for me. And Hitler, I remember having brown eyes, and that's why I was obsessed with the blue eyes. But apparently now he has blue eyes. So that's an interesting one. We doing okay, Joe?
I never looked at Hitler's eyes.
Oh, I'm not screen sharing. Shoot. The only people seeing this are us. Hold on, everyone. I apologize.
No, I don't see it.
Oh, you don't even see it. So I'm just having a show by myself.
Well, no. You just had the screen. The screen was up until about 1 minute ago.
Shoot. Okay, here we go. Sorry, everyone. This is the show you turned into. So this is what you get. This is the vessel God chose. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Wait, here is it. I don't care. So my screen sharing now, hopefully.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I think I said them out loud, but yeah. Oh, that's why you didn't see. I'm describing what the village people look like. You didn't get to see it. Now you can see it. Does that look weird to you?
The guy in the front doesn't look familiar at all.
Well,
the guy in the leather for sure.
Yeah. Well, these 5 are the ones I remember. Now there's a soldier. There's 2 black guys in here now, if you're allowed to say that anymore. But yeah, and when you actually look at the real video, like when you get a chance, first of all, it's one of the most flamboyant. How about we use that word? Most flamboyant videos you'll ever see. But when you see this guy in the YMCA is the one I'm talking about, it almost looks like it's added in like AI Photoshop. It's really weird. He looks like he's in a separate little spot. It's bizarre. I'd rather not play it right now, but moving on. So we looked at the gun and all that. Did you get to see the screen share of the wrench and all that? You saw that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So and then here's the magic mirror. Okay. Now we're at the bones. Okay. So to me, you could have a snake they have the drawings and stuff. It goes in one socket, comes out the other. Can't work anymore because it had solid bones here. Just for me, just a few months ago. And now when I look at it, they've got these cutouts. So maybe they're making it so the snake can go back in and out. I don't know, but it's just some weird stuff. A lot of holes are popping in your skull down here. I think there's more holes over here. It's like that saying, like I need another hole in my head. You got lots now. Anyways. So Tony the Tiger, like I said, I don't really have a either way.
Oh, the nose is blue.
Yeah. Did you like it? Were you a black nose guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, I'm not sure, but
yeah. This one's a tough one, but yeah, I can see it. So then this one, to me, my whole life walking the malls with my parents. J.C. Penney, now it's got an extra E in it, like the word penny, like a coin. What was that? Is that on your end?
That was me. Yeah.
I was like looking around. I heard a bell. Yes, God. So yeah, J.C. Penney, and then like I said, Hitler. I remember having black or brown eyes. Now they're blue. And this lady, first of all, what's her name? Smokey and the Bandit.
I don't know.
Sally.
Hemingway?
Oh, that's right. Sally Fields is what I remember.
Sally Fields.
Hemingway. She lost her S. It's Sally Field now. And she used to have this real famous speech at the Oscars where she would say, "You like me." Yeah, it's not Sally Fields, it's Sally Field. No S. Yeah. Yeah. And she'll say it's always been like that. It's weird. Like they only see it that way. It's the only way they've ever remembered it. I don't understand how this all works. Some people see things at the same time differently. It's really weird, Joe. But yeah, now she's never said, "You like me, you really like me." Now she says, "You like me right now. You like me." And again, all the parodies that have done it, in fact, she's even talked about it, but no. So, but yeah, no S. It's Sally Field. There's only one of her. This one flip-flops back and forth. Chuck E. Cheese or Chuck E. Cheese is. That one, I'm not sure where it even is right now. The S comes and goes. It's weird. Just like, I don't know how good I'm sorry?
Sure. I say Chuck E. Cheese for sure.
With no S.
With no S, yeah.
Yeah. So now I think it's still there. I don't know. It comes and goes. But just like, I don't know how you were in English, but when you had an apostrophe here, let me get out of this real quick here. When you have an apostrophe S, but the word ends in S.
Right.
Okay. So like if we were to look up the easiest one is Bridget Jones. So the movie or the book, Bridget Jones' Diary, right? If you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
How would you write the word Jones for Bridget Jones' Diary? I know, I didn't know.
Bridget Jones' Diary. I would say I would put the apostrophe at the after the S, I suppose.
Correct. That's what I remember. But now you know what proper English is? This will blow your mind. This because I was straight A student in English. I was that much of a geek and nerd or whatever. Look at that. It's now proper English to add another apostrophe, another S.
Bridget Jones's Diary.
Yeah. And it's not just this movie.
You don't need an extra S.
Right, but you do now. So if you look up the proper way to do this, not just this movie, everything, if you have an S and you want to put an apostrophe to it, you add another S. So I think we found Sally Field's S because it's here.
She donated it to Bridget.
Yeah, right? Bridget has Sally Field's S. Just like I think, were you there last week when I came up with the whole smoky, which is no longer spelled with the E? It's weird. Maybe you weren't there. We'll see.
Smoky without an E?
Yeah, I think we covered. Let me see. If you look up Smoky Mountains, Great Smoky Mountains.
Yeah.
No, they're the Great Smoky Mountains. See? Smoky. Is that weird? And then
this kind of really throws me because I'm really bad at spelling.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. If you were to look up smoke definition. Okay. The definition of smoke, right? That looks good. So now if I want to look up the definition of smoky, right? If something has smoke around, right? That's how I would write it, unless you wouldn't. And you pull that up. No, it changes it to smoky, smoke filled. And then if you,
that doesn't look right.
Right? And then I found it. I don't see it right now, but when you look up the actual word smoky with the E in it, like I have here, I don't know why it's not showing now. I showed it last week where it says it's a like a state patrol car, like that movie Smokey and the Bandit. And that's the definition with the E. Otherwise, you take away the E.
Weird.
Yeah. So pretty interesting.
That's not even how you spell smoky.
No. Yeah. And now this wasn't here. Now it says that for some reason it's got it there. But if you look, they don't use it in any of the examples. There's no E. no smoky bacon, no smoky eyes. There's no E. It's weird. That's a weird one. So what's next? Chuck E. Cheese. We covered that one. Desi Arnaz is now Desi Arnaz. And he never said Lucy got some splaining to do. Never said it once. That's a weird one for me. And Procter and Gamble is now, or Proctor is now Procter. And the weird thing is there's a guy that I watched a lot of videos from, Brian Staveley, does a lot on this, and he pulled up the patents on some products, and the patents are written with the O, Proctor, for the products instead of Procter. And you got to think how many lawyers went through that and before it got finalized. Why would you file a patent with not knowing the name of your company, right? It's weird.
Yeah. I think I remember Procter and Gamble.
And that's the other thing too. Like, it changes for people at different times. It's odd. Mr. Rogers never said it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. He now says this neighborhood. That's a weird one for a lot of people.
A beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Now, if you listen to it, it's this.
Really?
Yeah. And it's trippy because, as many times as we listen to it, and they even came out with that movie with Tom Hanks in it, and it was called Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. And they have a bunch of kids sing on a bus or something he's on, and they sing it the way we remember.
I used to watch that show every day.
Yeah. Well, check it out. At least look up the intro and you'll see. It sounds weird. It's like he's saying, hey, I don't give a shit what's happening in your neighborhood. It's cool over where I am.
What was the name of his neighborhood anyway?
Was the name of his neighborhood?
Yeah, didn't it have a name?
Well, it says Mr. Oh, look at his S. Look at that. That S is wrong.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, but it should have another S now in the current reality. That's weird.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, triple R's. I wonder what that is. Some kind of Illuminati thing. Okay, what's next? Interview with a vampire changed to the vampire. The Mona Lisa now smiles. And she also got like a wart up here.
They added a smile and a wart.
Yeah. She keeps changing, and I think she's now sitting at a chair, and you can see part of the chair and her arm. That's weird. And Home Depot never existed, even though if you look up their website, you can still find it listed as Home Depot, but it's always been the Home Depot. That's a trippy one for me.
I never.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
I don't remember it being the Home Depot.
Yeah. And so now from here on out, every time you drive by one, you'll see it. So that's what I'm saying. It's weird how it works like that. Like you didn't notice it. And that's why I think it is biblical, because God talks about, those that with eyes can see. And when Paul, he removed the scales from his eyes and then he could see, that kind of thing. And so you and I could walk by this store and I know it's changing. I'll look at it and I'll see and then you might not even register it. And then all of a sudden I point it out and you go, when did that happen? It's weird. It's weird how that stuff happens. Okay. This, of course, is the Bears. We talked about that. Staples now has a staple in it. That was weird. For the L. And see, the death ones I'm not even sure about because I don't remember when people died. But multiple deaths on some of these people. He never said Lucy got some splaining to do. How about this is a weird one? Double stuff Oreos. 1F.
Well,
it looks weird.
It looks like a misprint.
Yeah. It's always been that way. And then, of course, is this guy named Seth MacFarlane? No. His name is Seth MacFarlane.
Okay.
Yeah. See, Fly My Pretties Fly is now Fly, Fly, Fly. How about this one? How many people were in the car when Kennedy got shot? Most people remember 4. Now they have 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a weird one. And now there's a scene that actually looks like Jackie leans over and shoots him up from behind the chin. It's freaking weird, man.
That she shoots him?
Yeah, yeah. And then there's like, it used to be, I remember the Zabruta film, which is this black and white shady thing with no sound. And then I think they colorized it. Now there's, I think, at least 10 or 12 different angles with sound and color. You can hear the shots and stuff. Like, when did that all happen? Suddenly everyone has handheld cameras in the 60s. I mean, what the heck?
They have camera phones now.
Yeah, well, check it out. I mean, you're the camera guy. There's so many angles of this now. It's ridiculous. But yeah, there's 6 people in this car. And in fact, they even have a replica in a museum, and it's a 4-seater car. And people ask, well, how come it's a 4-seater? And like, oh, well, it was too much money to build another 6-seater. Well, then how come in like the movies and when they did the whatever that report was, when they checked out what happened, they reenacted it, they did it with 4-seaters. Well, shut up. I mean, it's like, it doesn't make any sense. That's a trippy one. One of my friends, Jen, she does a channel. I'll get you some info on some of the stuff we talk about there. But she went to a whole bunch of veterans and asked them, and every single one of them got it wrong. They all said 4 people. This is a real trippy one. This one tripped out my parents too. And then this, well, Cheez-Its lasted S or Z. I remember with a Z. And now it's just one. There's only one in here. There's just one Cheez-It. But we did skip over this one. Oscar Mayer became, where is it? Oscar Mayer.
No, it didn't. There's no way it's Oscar Mayer, dude. I don't believe that.
You saw the movie? This is what I used to say to my dad. My dad passed away in January. And I used to make this joke because whenever I do this to him, he'd be like, come on. And I'd say that movie, Die Hard, in the scene when he throws the thing out the window and it crashes on the cop's car and he yells out, welcome to the party, pal. Well, you're having that moment. It's always been Mayer.
Store next time and look for this.
Okay. And then look up the word wiener because that changed too. So Oscar Mayer wieners are now the wiener, the I and the E switch places. It's now a whiner.
Oscar Mayer whiner.
Yeah, Oscar Mayer.
Mayer
Weiner.
Mayer Weiner.
Oh my goodness.
Mayer.
Okay. How about Star Wars? You're a Star Wars guy? Most of us are.
No.
Oh, okay. So would you know who C-3PO is? The gold robot?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, a lot of people freak out because those of us who remember he was all gold, but now he has a silver leg from the very first moment he sets on film. So he's all gold except this one leg. And then a lot of weird things are happening with him. He got an antenna. His hands now have black gloves like Michael Jackson. There's just all kinds of weirdness. But that's a huge thing because I remember him in the chair at the third movie with the little teddy bears. And they're dancing around in the chair, and I would have seen it. Now it's so obvious. So that's weird. And they all get backstories too. They start asking the characters, and then there's like, oh yeah, well, it's always had a silver leg. You just didn't tell because his scenes were in the desert. No. And then they talk to the guy that was in the suit. Oh yeah, I always had a silver leg. No. Then how come all the Comic-Con guys that fascinate on this stuff to a level that they get it wrong? Like, why is there no C3? Now there probably are, but forever there hasn't been walking around those. So that's weird. Oops. The Volvo symbol. The Volkswagen symbol got separated. And I've seen there's a gentleman that has a van that has 3 hubcaps, and some of them are the old way, and he's had like one or so replaced in there the new way. And that's weird. And the Volvo symbol now is a male symbol, wherever that is. I don't know why I can't find it. It's not letting me clickety click. Well, you see it anyways. It's a male symbol. Why isn't that working? 28, 29. There we go. That's kind of weird, right? That was new. And then Ford. It doesn't look like this. Next time you see a Ford, you're going to see this little flirty, squiggly thing, and you'll be like, that's ridiculous. Because it was supposed to be Ford's signature, and it's definitely not even close to this. In fact, this R is looking kind of wonky now to me. And Fruit Loops, has always been with 2 O's. That's weird. I remember as a fruit. Now it's double O's.
Yeah.
And Skechers doesn't have a T. And this was interesting because way before we even knew something was happening, my wife was looking up to get some shoes for one of our children. And she typed in Skechers and couldn't find it. And then she realized that she forgot the T. And so she put the T in, and then she, and then of course now, if you look into it, it's never had it. So her story doesn't make any sense anymore. Because why would she, you know what I mean? Because it wasn't ever there. But back then it was. So, all right, what's next? See, I don't know about the different people dying. He never says hello, Clarice. That was weird. When he walks in, he just says good morning. I actually have a video on that. It's
No way. I've seen him say hello, Clarice.
Okay, let me go back here. Let's see.
Hello.
Let me here. I'll stop screen sharing for a second, and I'll grab this real quick because I have this. My video. Go down here. Talk amongst yourselves. And let's see. Oh, on the wrong thing here. Hold on. I'll be right with y'all. Too many buttons to click. Okay. So I want to go to the oldest ones here. All the way at the end. Boy, I have a lot of videos. I didn't realize it. Okay. But in the very beginning, when I started my channel, I was just covering some of these Mandela Effects. And where's that one? Here it is. Okay. That wasn't that hard to get to, but we found it. Oh, food's done.
That's right. I'm lost.
Okay. All right, here we go. Where is it? Can you see that? Am I screen sharing that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, but there's no sound.
Ceiling fan.
I miss all the fun.
Sergeant of the land. Hello, Clarice.
Hello, Clarice. Hello, Clarice.
See, that's him saying it in the sequel, just so you know, because he says it there. But a lot of people didn't even see the sequel.
I'm afraid I have bad news for you.
You remember in that movie Silence of the Lambs? It was a creepy movie, but it was very popular. And specifically when he met Clarice for the first time. She walks up to his cell. He looks at her with those steely eyes, and he says, "Hello, Clarice," which tells you he already knows who she is, which made it even creepier. Well, guess what?
This never happened. It will shock you how much it never happened.
You ready? Here it is.
Good morning.
That's it. He says good morning.
Good morning.
I added the music, but you can see. So yeah, that's what he says. Isn't that weird?
Wow.
Yeah. And all right, let's finish up. I don't know if we can go them all because we're getting late in the night, but I know you have a young one there. Cup of Noodles is missing its O. It's just now Cup Noodles. I think that might have changed back. I don't know. But definitely Whiteout used to have it saying white. Now it's just W-I-T-E. Like these things don't even make sense.
It's not white?
No, it's just W-I-T-E. Yeah, that's a weird one. Right? And Katy Perry with her boobs out is now some people, I don't know. That I don't remember this lady enough to know. That was his thumbnail, so it's just I think a teaser to get people here. But Johnny Walker now has an IE instead of a Y. Let's see. Oh, this one killed me because I watched this as a kid. Johnny Quest lost his H. That's weird for me. Folgers lost its D. Mickey Mouse lost his suspenders. O'Reilly lost its S. So it's O'Reilly now. I guess there's no longer more than one of them. This one's a trippy one. If you listen to this song, We Are the Champions, at the very end, it doesn't say Of the World on the studio version. You wait for it and it's gone. In fact, I saw a thing where a bunch of actors were in a car, like George Clooney and stuff, and they were singing along, and then they waited and it didn't happen. So we're not the only ones noticing it. They just aren't allowed to really tell us. Captain Kirk never said, beam me up, Scotty. Not once. This is Gortons with a T. That's weird for me. So, and Depends lost. Oh, Dr. Doolittle is now one L. It's Dr. Dolittle. Or one O rather. It's not L. One O. It's Dr. Dolittle, not Dr. Doolittle. But Depends. And that joke, I went and I saw, because my dad, we used to watch Star Trek together, and William Shatner was out where he lived. And so my brother and I, we all went, and he did this joke. Obviously it was a setup, but someone in the audience, you could ask questions, and somebody said, do you wear boxers or briefs? And his answer was depends, which makes it funny, right? Because he's like 90 or something, but it's never had the S. And that's weird. So yeah, there's only one depend. And where is it? Elliot's is missing its T. And Gandhi's all messed up for me. The H is at the end. Gandhi. That's weird for me.
The second one looks right to me.
It does. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Vlasic looks okay. To me, I think it misses an S. Just like Eddie's, I remember double D's.
Me too.
Yeah, well, our double D's are gone. And you know what else is gone? Smoky the Bear, his the is missing now, or it's Smokey, but it should be Smoky. Isn't that weird? They've got this wrong. Because if he's really Smoky, it should be with no E, but no, the is missing. So it's just Smoky Bear now. And
but the E is still there.
Yeah, isn't that weird? But he did lose his suspenders, so he looks pretty much shirtless now with some pants. He had suspenders in my reality. Pikachu's tail is now just all gold. Another big one for me was the Kit Kat Dash, and it's not there anymore. That's a weird one. And apparently this guy never had a mustache past the first episode. That's kind of weird. And Curious George doesn't have a tail anymore. I mean, I can go through. I don't want to go through them all with you. I'll throw this link in the chat, and anybody who wants to go over them. But what do you think, man? There's just a lot. There's what's that?
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's so many now, and I think whatever's happening is amping up exponentially, because we're seeing a lot of changes, and like in the Bible too, you know, and I just feel that all of it is just a way to let us know that we live in a supernatural, or whatever you want to call it, spiritual world that they didn't teach us in school. They're indoctrinating us on their history that's all lies anyways, it seems, and then not telling us our real, true person, who we are. So yeah, and then you can look at the continents and stuff, like they've shifted. Panama Canal is no longer east and west. It goes north and south. That's a weird one. And there's so many. I mean, I could go maybe another time or something, because I don't want to make this all about just watching your head spin, because it happens sometimes. You know, there's so many. Like I'm one of my favorite, I call him handlers, is Clint Eastwood. He's like the best cowboy ever. And he's got that fistful of dollars where the guy, he knows how to shoot a man and kill him because he shoots in the heart. He has this rifle and he shoots this perfect set of a heart shape almost in his heart. And he takes off his coat and you see that he has a metal plate. That's why he stayed alive. But now when you look at what your heart is, it's actually in the middle of your chest. And so when they made us like pledge allegiance and put our hand over our heart, it doesn't make any sense, because it's not there anymore. And in fact, my wife, who was a nurse for 30 years, she said that they put, when you're measuring the heart, those EKG things, you put it on that one side around the heart. And now that doesn't make sense either because it's more in the middle of your chest.
Yeah.
So, and just like your kidneys, a kidney punch, which is, in your lower back area. Well, if you look at anatomy now, they actually move it up into your rib cage. So if a doctor wants to test for, an infection, instead of just tapping you with a couple of fingers, they use the fist and they pound your rib cage because it's stuck up in there. It's like things you can't explain. You can say, okay, I don't remember where Curious George had a tail or not, but I damn know where my kidneys were. And they're not there anymore. It's wild.
Yeah, I definitely remember the heart, the Pledge of Allegiance, definitely here,
Yeah. Now, if you look, it's in the center. I mean, I could pull all that up, but we could do it another time or later. But anyways, well, that's enough of that. And wow, I really enjoy having you here. I really am grateful that you took time out to spend with us. And hopefully everyone has checked out his channels. Please like, share, sub, and bell. It's a wonderful family, and thank you for standing up for our rights and showing us your journey.
Well, thanks a lot for having me. I really enjoyed it. So
excellent. Oh, I didn't even show you my food. Oh, you want to see what I made this week?
Sure.
Okay, we'll do the food before we head on out. Here we go. This is what I cook, and I made something. Here we go. The people in the chat will probably think we'll figure it out. Here we go.
We like the ceiling fan.
So I thought I'd try something new. I thought I'd try chicken gumbo.
Sweet Lady Gumbo.
So hopefully it'll look, something delicious or something like that. So we start out with, I'm going to do my own little spice mix again. So we got some flour. Sure, it's flour. No, it's not. Say hello to my little friend. So anyways, so what I thought I'd do is, I'm going to add a little bit of matzo meal because I always have to Jew up every meal. Oi. And then I didn't have regular clove garlic. I'm going to add some into the spice mix. We got the smoky oregano that is oregano that I grew and dried, and this one got a little bit dark colored, so I call it smoky.
Smoky.
Oh wait, I got to change that. It no longer has E in it. And then we've got some chili lime because they wanted me to do some kind of spices I didn't have. And so, wait a minute, let me get rid of that. That's better. Okay, and then I'd throw some curry in there. And then again, this is onions that I dried, so I'll throw a little of that. And then, I don't know, I found this, and it looks pretty fancy.
No, it's not fancy.
Just throw a little sprig of that in there and mix it up. And then we've got other things, fresh vegetables and stuff, and we'll see how that looks. So, here we go. Yeah. So I decided to go old school. Back in the 70s, there was a lot of what they called shake and bake going on. And all you do is you put all your spices in a bag with your chicken, and then you shake, and then you bake.
Shake, shake, shake! Shake, shake, shake! What?
So they're thoroughly mixed, but in this household, we like our cast iron, so it's going to go in the cast iron. It'll be shake and fried. It should be shake and bake.
Shake, shake, shake! Shake, shake, shake!
So we're going to start with some olive oil on our cast iron. And then we're going to take our shake and bake. Very nice. And we'll cook that up, and we'll go from there.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So we're getting a really nice golden brown to this mix that we did, and the chicken's starting to come up cooked really well. And then we're going to add some of our vegetables and continue cooking this this gumbo. Gumbo.
He makes the most amazing gumbo.
All right, so now I'm going to add a little bit of my own homemade chicken broth to it. And then from there, we're going to add in our onions. Okay. Get in there. Okay. We got some celery we're going to put in there. Get in there.
Get in there!
It's looking good. It's looking very good.
Very good.
Getting steamy.
Steamy stuff.
Looking really good. Very good. Very good. And now we're going to have it reduce by letting it simmer uncovered for just a little bit. Yes.
Is he okay?
And so there we have it.
What you're left with is a gumbo fit only for a madman.
We've got, it's not a soup, it came out more of a ceiling fan gumbo, but, so then I put some rice in it, of course. It's a good way to, you know, make a meal larger. And then I love my garnish. You've got a little, what is that, it's ground parsley. Yes, ground parsley. And a few peppers on there. And there we go. We'll give it a try here. Let's see. Oh my gosh, that's really good. That's really good. Yeah, you'll get some too. So then if you have too many leftovers, I pick out the tomatoes, and then I added some fresh farm eggs and some more rice, and you make a nice, gotta get that tomato too, make a nice dog food breakfast for the morning. So hashtag no waste. I made chicken breast. It's flat.
Satellite tracking continues.
Well, see, my wife's been gone for several weeks. I figure people think I'm losing my, because I don't know. It just came about. I was like, I had all that. Anyways, I had powder. I had flour on my hand, and the rest of it came from there. But and I like when I make something and it doesn't come out anything close to the picture, but it's still edible. It's still good, delicious, you know. But yeah. So and then that's funny, that bread. So I made that, but that was my first attempt. I didn't know what I was doing. So actually tonight I was almost late for this getting here because I was doing all the regular stuff, and then I'm actually making my first loaf of bread, and I've been filming that. So hopefully, God willing, the next day or so, I'll have a big loaf of bread, and then I can show that. So stay tuned, everyone, for my first loaf of bread. That's not chicken bread.
Somebody said, thank you, Quentin Tarantino.
Nice. Fantastic. And you know what? I don't know. There's a gentleman named, his name's Voynich. He lives in Amsterdam. He has a crazy, amazing hair. And he said to me the other day, he said he saw a comparison to me and Jason Lee from the guy from, what do you call it? My Name is Earl. And so I pulled up a Jason Lee, especially the way my hair's looking tonight. It's looking amazing. And I don't know. What do you think? You see that?
I can see the resemblance.
Yeah, right. I mean, I see him as the other kid, the No My Name is Earl guy. He looks real goofy. This, you know, he's probably a handsome man, so I guess I could see the connection there. Voynich. Anyway. Okay, well, put a fork in me. I'm done. Is there anything you'd like to say? Please feel free. And
no, thank you for having me. That's it.
All right, man. A few words. Excellent. Okay. Well, please, everyone, definitely check him out, and hopefully we'll maybe do it again sometime. It's fun having you on, and I wish you all the best on your journey. And let me just finish up by saying, may God watch over everyone here in the chats, whoever's watching this with the sound of my voice, and your family that you're going on your cross country trip. May He bless us, watch over us, continue to guide us, and send comfort and joy through these times. Thank you very much in the name of Jesus. So that's what I have.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure. And I hope everyone in the chat had fun. And on Rockfin, thank you very much. And we're going to hit this guy and then play the intro. Thanks again, Joe.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Night.
Class is dismissed.